Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to get you styled up with Stitch Fix. Shopping's hard. It's hard. With Stitch Fix, you get a stylist, though, who understands your style, your size, your budget, and they do all the shopping for you.
Wow.
This is excellent. Shopping, I'm telling you, shopping and figure out your style, it's overwhelming. Let somebody help you when it comes to getting dressed. We don't know what we're doing, so we let Stitch Fix help us out. A Stitch Fix stylist there. They know what works on us. We get the prices that make us look really good, and it feels good. You get some confidence boost walking around knowing that you're looking decent here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we just give the stylist our sizes, style, budget preferences. We order boxes when we want, how we want, no subscription or any of that required. And they send called Just For Me pieces as well. Like, maybe you'd like this, and it's awesome. Outfit recommendations, styling tips. You keep what you love, you send back the rest. It's super easy.
Yep.
You can do it, and we are doing it because it's excellent. Personal styling for everyone. Get started today at stitchfix.com/STM. That's stitchfix.com/STM.
Now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you about Noom. Has Noom helped you? I believe it has.
Oh, that's got an app. You can do tracking. It's terrific.
It does. And Noom builds personal plans that can meet individual needs. That's the thing. Takes into account any dietary restrictions, medical issues, other personal needs. That helps build a plan that works for you. And yes, so I know that you've had your own personalized program here that you've been working on. And
it's weight loss This is weight loss results that last. They stick around because you get yourself into a lifestyle change. That's what matters.
That's mainly it. You can't just say, I'm going to cut that out for a month and then go back to it. That's not what it is. So I'm glad it's helping you. That's great. And it really does. I like the psychology and biology-based approach here. Yeah. Noom Weight uses psychology. That's why they say losing weight starts with your brain, but it also takes into account your unique biological factors, Jimmy. All of your multitude flora and fauna that goes on inside of you there.
Sure. Yeah.
Stay focused on what's important to you with Noom's psychology and biology-based approach. Sign up for your trial today at Noom.com, Noom.com here. Based on 3.5-year study of actively engaged Noom users with minimum starting BMI of 25. Individual results may vary. Visit our website for more information.
Thumbtack presents the ins and outs of caring for your home. Out, procrastination, putting it off, kicking the can down the road. In, plans and guides that make it easy to get home projects done. Out, carpet in the bathroom. Like, why? In, knowing what to do, when to do it, and who to hire. Start caring for your home with confidence. Download Thumbtack today.
This week, in Woodstock, Illinois, a terrible slaughter in a family home leaves everyone reeling, but the carnage turns into an even weirder story once the hunt for the killer begins. Welcome to Small Town Murder. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Small Town Murder.
Yay!
Yay indeed, Jimmy. Yay indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I am Jimmie Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us again, or if it's your first time, thank you for giving us a shot. We are excited. Well, it's a weird thing to say with all the murder here, but it's a crazy story, and we're going to try to have as much fun with it as we possibly can around the terrible things that have happened. But thank you for joining us. If you have not done it yet, give us a review. 5 stars would be wonderful. You can do it on Spotify now, so thank you. That does help drive us up the charts, so thank you so much for that, everyone who has done that. Also, shutupandgivememurder.com. Get all your tickets, all your merchandise, everything of that nature. Announcement here. The next, I guess it's like almost 60 days worth of shows. January, February shows. These are Nashville, Tampa, Orlando, Oklahoma City, Austin are all rescheduled now. They're going to be, it'll be in this calendar year. Don't worry. It'll be sometime before December of 2022. I guess now. But we have no choice. We were advised that apparently the clubs and different places are having everyone will go down sick at the same time. So there's a lot of places across the country where performers will get there, crowds will be ready, and that day they'll say, we can't open tonight because we don't have a staff. And then everybody's screwed, and they all have to... So we
stop taking it out on us. It's not our fucking fault.
Yeah, people.
It's enough
we've
already.
gotten a couple people mad at us. We're trying to make a living, so we would love to do the shows.
We don't get the money until we do the show.
That's the other thing. This isn't a bake sale. Like, we don't have a lockbox with everybody's ticket money in front of us. It's no, we don't. It's all, we don't get it till we perform. So that's the way it works. We'd love to perform and get it over with and get the money and have you be happy with the show. So,
we don't get it until 8 weeks later.
There you go. So we're hoping that Chicago will be our next show. Chicago, Minneapolis. I think that Chicago might be sold out. Minneapolis might be about sold out. So
close.
Get your tickets now. I don't know what to tell you. Good luck. We can't wait to get out there.
You got stop buying tickets to us on StubHub or any fucking
don't buy third party.
Don't do that,
because then you can't get refunds in case some weird shit happens, or you can't.
And that's your problem. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
God,
buy it from legitimate places. You can go in the Facebook groups and you can get them. Other fans sell them and stuff like that. That's a much easier way to do it. So
and if you can't get them, you can't get them. We'll be back next year.
We'll be
I don't
back.
know what to tell you. Jesus.
So Patreon.com/crime and sports is where you get the good stuff. Oh, this week, so much good stuff. And you get anybody $5 or above, you get access to Crime and Sports and Small Town Murders Patreon. And if you don't listen to Crime and Sports, start this week with Jerry the King Lawler, because everyone knows who he is. Yeah. And there's not a lot of sports at all in that, just a lot of weird stuff. So this week's, you're going to get, like I said, access to everything we do. This week we have Crime and Sports episode is going to be A Year in Sports Crime, 1995. And it's just like 200 arrests, and we're going to go over them real quick. It's going to be amazing. Just a fast rundown of so many people getting arrested. And then Small Town Murder, we're going to do one of our more requested ones here. Yeah. We're going to talk about JonBenet Ramsey and that whole problem, and not so much the murder, because that's been covered, and it's pretty gross, honestly. And
it's pretty awful.
But all the stuff afterwards, what's up with the parents, what's up with the letter in the house, the ransom note, who writes a ransom note, does multiple drafts of one after you've slaughtered a little girl. It's insane. So crazy stuff. Patreon.com/crime and sports is where you get that. And you're going to get a shout out. Jimmie will mispronounce your name most eloquently while trying to pronounce it properly. Or you can just go to PayPal, use our email address, crimeandsports@gmail.com, and get your name totally messed up. So that's the way that works.
Butchered.
Quick disclaimer, because we have a lot of show here. This is a comedy podcast.
It is.
We're comedians. There's going to be jokes. Also, the stories are 100% true. There's no kind of embellishment for comedic effect or any of that garbage. This is the facts, and we are going to dance around the horrible stuff and find the humor. And there's plenty of it there. There's a lot of silliness that goes around a murder, like thinking, I'll get away with this murder. That's pretty silly. So we're going to make fun of that. That's what I mean. What we're not going to do, though, we're not going to make fun of the victims or the victims' families.
Why?
Because we're assholes, but we're not scumbags. And that's how that works. So if that sounds good to you, welcome aboard. If you think true crime and comedy should never, ever go together, you might not like this, but I bet you will, actually. Just don't complain later. That's all we're asking. For everyone, I think it's time to sit back, clear the lungs, and shout, "Shut up and give me murder." Let's do this, everybody.
All right.
Let's go on a trip, Jimmie. What do you say?
Okay.
Let's do it. We are coming from Utah last week, all the way, remember that, Cedar City, Utah.
Southern border.
We're heading for the Midwest this week, baby, right in the heart.
Boy.
Woodstock, Illinois.
Everybody's got one, evidently.
Everybody's got a Woodstock, and Illinois is no different.
What's that about?
So Woodstock, Illinois, it's a northwest suburb of Chicago. It's like a kind of a longer away suburb, but it's a suburb. People commute in to work. It's about an hour and 10 minutes to downtown Chicago from here. So it's a good suburb, to drive in from. Yeah. It's about an hour, 40 minutes to Madison, Wisconsin, if you want to go over that direction, and about 3 hours and 35 minutes from Mount Zion, Illinois. Episode 217, our last Illinois episode, which was the doggy DNA. Remember that?
No.
There was dog DNA that got a guy busted because his dog's DNA was on the... It was crazy, man. There's a whole family that got arrested. It was a wild scene. So
how did we not make a bunch of dog fucking jokes with that?
Do you think we didn't? I mean, you don't remember them because it was almost a year ago, but I guarantee you there was some There was some dog coitus humor.
Some doggy style mentioned?
Weird. It's in McHenry County, area code here 815. The motto here for this town, they do have a motto, true to its past, confident in its future.
Okay.
That's interesting. True to its past, confident in its future. So,
I'd like to know about that path, James.
Well, let's hear about it a little bit with a drop of history. We got to buzz through the town stuff because we have so much show here. This is just a weird, crazy, twisty case, so we got to get into this fast. It was named an All-America city in 1864. Or 1964, not 1864. It was, sorry about that.
One of the first.
It was named Centerville to begin with, and I guess they thought that sounded just kind of too boring, too vanilla, so they renamed it Woodstock, and there you go. This was in the 50s, so I don't know if it was like after Snoopy's friend or what. This wasn't like...
There's less Centervilles than there are Woodstocks, I think.
Yeah, probably. It's a certified city in 1987. I don't know what that is, but they're proud of it. It's a National Trust distinctive destination in 2007. Wow.
They got a lot of titles for this shit.
And then in the last few years, it's became a Preserve America community. I don't know what that means either. That doesn't sound good, but
I don't like that.
It sounds aggressive. It's listed on the National Register of Historic Places and rests the Woodstock Square. The downtown is all historical shit. It's been around a long time. They also say, and this is from their website, whether visiting for a day, a weekend, or living in Woodstock, we're glad you're here. Thanks.
No matter what reason.
Glad to be here. Yeah. In the 1900s, Woodstock became known as Typewriter City because it was home to multiple typewriter factories, the Emerson Typewriter Company and the Oliver Typewriter Company.
How much do they hate computers?
They're like, fuck, the town that...
God damn it!
The town that computers killed is what this name of this town is. The town that word processors killed.
Yeah, right here's an ink ribbon. What's an ink ribbon?
In 1922, the Woodstock typewriters were accounted for more than half the typewriters in the world.
Oh, damn it.
So, coming from this place. Why is it, by the way, that you get these towns it'll become that industry's town? Like, we make typewriters here. Why did the second business open there also when there's already a typewriter company there? Wouldn't you think the second typewriter company would be like, let's move to a different town so we can be king shit of fuck mountain and typewriters here?
I don't know, James. Perhaps the weather there is so perfect for typewriters.
It might be just the ribbons come out just right. I don't know. The right humidity.
It's like rum in the Bahamas.
Yeah. But the factories were like the main town, like everybody worked there. Everything revolved around them. They had social clubs and baseball teams and, they were always playing each other and shit like that. It's pretty, they even had a band. One of the Emerson factory had a band.
No shit.
They were all closed down by 1970 though.
Right.
I mean, people had typewriters and they were like,
thanks a lot, Apple.
Already have one. We're good.
Yeah. Did you have one in your house? I had one in my house.
I am sure there was one there. I don't fucking know. There wasn't much typing going on in my house, really.
We had one just in case.
Mainly yelling in Italian. It was a different
just in case somebody felt like...
just yelling in Italian, that would be...
Figure Italians would be real good at typewriters. You guys talk with your hands so much.
Yeah, you'd imagine, but nope.
Or no use for them because you talk with them enough.
Yeah, so your hands are up here. You can't type. You go, you got to get them down here to type.
They're
it's too far. Too far out. Too far away from the typewriter. If we can mount it on the wall, possibly. So, also, Orson Welles was here for a while. The actor Orson Welles, who's obviously a giant famous actor-director. And I guess in 1926, he was enrolled in the Todd School for Boys when he was 10. And he was there for 5 years. That was his only formal education, was 5 years in Woodstock. And in 1960, they asked him in an interview, what's your hometown? And he said, I suppose it's Woodstock, Illinois, if it's anywhere. I went to school there for 4 years. I try to think of it as a home. It's that, or if I try to think of a home, it's that. So apparently shaped him a little bit. They filmed several scenes in planes, trains, and automobiles here.
No shit.
Shit, yeah. The scene where the rental car is being towed away was filmed here. And Woodstock is most famous for being the town square is the location of the movie Groundhog Day, which is
no kidding.
Supposed to
Not
be in
Pennsylvania at all.
Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. But no, they picked a town square that was good to film in. And apparently it was this one. And plus, it's by Chicago. Bill Murray's in it. Think about it. And he'd be like, let's pick one so I can get to a Cubs game once in a while.
Rather not go to Philly.
So I guess apparently it was a non-specific, the square, the Woodstock Square where they pull the, groundhog out and everything. Right. They said that really looked like, small town USA for what they were looking for.
And we're what's-his-fuck trips over the water puddle every day.
Phil.
Yeah. Is it Phil? Yeah, Phil. Yeah. Phil.
There's a lot of Phils going on.
Yeah.
So now he Ned Ryerson.
Ned Ryerson.
He calls Phil.
Yeah.
He calls out to Phil.
He's Phil. Yeah.
Phil. Now the outdoor street scenes were filmed all around everything outside was pretty much there, and a lot of the real businesses were there, and there is all sorts of plaques, and there's a walking tour for visitors to whatever. So reviews of this town. 5 stars. This one, they love it. 5 stars. It's perfect. Love the town of Woodstock. Love is all capital letters, by the way, so it must be real. So many things to do in the historic Woodstock Square with many local shops, cafes, and restaurants. Also the town where the movie Groundhog Day starring Bill Murray was filmed.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Is there another one?
3 stars with the other Groundhog Day. Groundhog Day 2. It's a darker tome. It's it's a different thing. It's got Jean-Claude Van Damme in it where he hunts down the killers of his wife and children. And he finally gets them on Groundhog Day and slaughters them in front of the groundhog, causing him to go back into his hole.
There's no repeating this day. It just happens once. And then he wakes up and it's February 3rd and everything's over.
And he's got blood all over him. And then he goes to prison.
And he wishes it would just start over again and he could just not do all the horrible shit he just did.
That's right. So 3 stars. Woodstock is not the kind of town you move to when you want to have loads of fun. Occasionally there are some fun things to do, but they happen so often you see the same people there. Definitely not enough to do. I would assume this person thinks there's not enough to do here based on the 3 different sentences. They said it 3 different ways in 3 different sentences and then summed it up succinctly. After growing up here, I personally hate the location. You are far away from any major cities or towns. An hour away from Chicago is not that far. Yeah. The main type of people who live here are usually farmer families or Hispanics. Okay.
Jesus. What the fuck?
I don't like farmers or Hispanics. Woodstock is an old town stuck in old ways. Reminds me of a loaf of moldy bread. Wow.
Good Lord.
Interesting. Let's see. 1 star. Moved here a few years ago. Unwelcoming and discriminatory toward newcomers. No places to really shop for a family. The Walmart is never stocked and doesn't carry a full selection. Wow. Even the Jewel Osco doesn't restock regularly. Even the Osco isn't restocking. Well, if Osco's not restocking, this town it's going down, clearly. Is
Osco the Jewel Osco? Is that the brand?
Jewel Osco's like a drugstore. Remember they used to have them in Phoenix, the Oscos? Yeah,
but it was just Osco Drug here. It wasn't ever...
But the Jewel was part of their corporate name always.
What? Okay. I thought they were saying like the jewel of the town.
The jewel of the town. The bright shining Osco on the hill. Don't bother to try to get involved or volunteer if you haven't been born here. Low class and even less educated, but they know all. Corruption is rampant. Schools are poor, especially the elementary. Even the drivers don't follow the rules of the road. It's just, what is it, Dodge City and the fucking Wyatt Earp need to come in here and lay down the law? Oh, my God. This is the 4th state I've lived in and by far the worst place I've ever lived. Can't wait to move away from here. Upside is train station to Chicago. Yeah. So, yeah, you can leave anytime you want. By the way, just a reminder, we don't write these reviews. We're just reading ones that other people wrote. So people will argue with me over a review someone else wrote. And I'm like, that could be true. I don't know. That's why we're laughing at the review.
Never been, yeah.
1 star, agree with the reviewer who stated unwelcoming and discriminatory to newcomers. Don't bother to get involved. low class, less educated, but they know quotes. This review is just a quote of the other review.
Yeah.
And then said, if exclusion and small town gossip is your thing, you'll fit right in here.
Hell yeah.
So, wow, they're angry. People in this town, 25,097. So it's, decent sized town. It's exactly 50-50 male female, like exactly on the money. So no one die or move or be born. We can keep the ratio.
We nailed it.
We nailed it. 36.1 is the median age, which is like a year younger than normal here. Married population is actually a little less than normal, which is normally 50-50. Here it's a little less, which you would think it'd be higher because it's a suburb. Usually we get those kind of family dynamics, but not really here. Race of this town, 71% white, 3.2% black, 1.9% Asian, 22% Hispanic. So I don't have farmer statistics at all, but they were correct. There are Hispanic people here.
What's the agriculture like?
What's the agricultural population? 54% of the people here are religious, which, it seems to be a heavy. Illinois is very heavily Catholic. Whenever we do stories right around Chicago, and here it is, 35.5% Catholic. So it's Catholics are, as we know, the Baptists of the northern Midwest region.
North of a specific latitude or longitude?
That's it. You got almost 8% Lutheran, a couple of Presbyterians here or there, a Pentecostal or two to toss around, and 0.1% Jewish. So not a whole lot of Jewish people here. In the it's pretty close politically in McHenry County, which is out here, this county, about 47.5% of the people voted Democrat in the last election, 50% Republican, 2.5% independent. So pretty almost even there. Unemployment rate here is about normal with the rest of the country, and the median household income is $600 off the national average. So
is that right?
Yeah, this town is as average as shit gets when it comes to all that kind of stuff. This is middle class USA here. So, the cost of living, 100 would be regular average. Right. Here it's 96.3. So right on. The only thing that's less is housing, which is a 71. So median home cost $237,200, which is about $60,000 less than the national average. So if we've convinced you, damn it, you need to go somewhere, we have for you the Woodstock, Illinois Real Estate Report. Average 2-bedroom rental here goes for $1,225, which is right about the national average. So that's
what the fuck?
Pretty damn normal. The only thing not normal about this show is the horrible murder here. This is a very abnormal. So there is a 1-bedroom, 1-bath little house. It does not list the square footage, which is never a good sign.
No.
It's a box. If you take like a box and then put a door on it and you say live in there, that's what it is.
Just a perfect square.
It's just like it's like someone's detached 3-car garage with a door instead of garage doors. $119,000 for that.
Well, that feels weird.
It still seems like too much. Found a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,700 square feet. It's a nice little family home, built in 1900, so it's old. It's weird because the outside of it looks like a shithole. That's the thing. You look at it and you go, oh, that house looks abandoned. But then the inside is completely updated and remodeled.
Really?
So they don't match at all. It's really weird. It's like it's in disguise. It's like a drug dealer's house. You know what I mean?
It's like an old patina vehicle. It looks all rusty and shit, but the inside's brand new.
It's perfect in there. Really weird. Some strange colors is painted, but that's okay. We can live with that. $215,000 for that. So still under the average. Then you're doing real well. You sold all the typewriters here.
Yeah.
Found a 4-bedroom, 5-bath T-bowl for each and every b-hole, my friends.
Absolutely.
4,610 square feet, so plenty of room. Really nice house, nice stuff going on. In the basement of the house, there's a sweet model train set up, actually. It looks pretty nice. I don't know if that comes with it or not. There's no mention of a Lionel being thrown into the mix here, but maybe for the price you could get it in there. $825,000 for this.
It better be included.
Maybe it's included. That's a big house, though, so understandable. Things to do in this town. Plenty of things to do. Oh, plenty. Groundhog Day. events.
Of course they do.
First of all. Oh, yeah. From February 28th to January 28th to February 2nd.
That's a bit late, James.
We're coming in late. We're going to reflect on Groundhog's Day.
You're going to do it again in March. It seems to be good for the economy.
It's reflective. You have to look back on it. Well, what do you know at the time? Hindsight's 2020. Yeah. They host a bunch of events here. Here we go. We have the welcoming of the groundhog, number one. The whole town.
On the 28th, they bring it home.
I guess they're going to scare the shit out of this poor animal. Trivia. I don't know if it's groundhog trivia or what, but just trivia.
Yeah.
Groundhog Day dinner dance.
Do we eat the groundhog?
I think we ceremonially slaughter the groundhog and eat his split.
Depends on what news he brings.
Yeah. More winter, slaughter the groundhog. Groundhog Day bingo. Groundhog Day pub crawl. Walking till by then you'd be like, kill the groundhog, I'm going to eat it. I'm eating it.
Shit-faced? In the name of the groundhog?
He looks furry and delicious. I want him. Walking tour of the film sites. Jim May's Groundhog Tales. Some old guy standing there. Let me tell you about Groundhog Day, 1961. Now that was a special. That was a special kind of hog. His name was Murray. Now, 4 different screenings of the film as well. Jesus,
it's all about the movie, James.
Yeah.
All the trivia is just the movie.
It is. I think this is just Groundhog Day.
It has nothing to do with the actual holiday.
There's even a groundhog mascot called Woodstock Willie who runs around and waves at people. Jesus. And then Donley's Wild West Town. Why is there a Wild West town an hour outside Chicago? I don't know.
No.
Who the fuck knows?
Is it west of the Mississippi? It is, isn't it?
I guess. Explore the historical displays in the museum. Cowboy memorabilia with genuine articles, including guns, gun belts, spurs, ropes, whips, hats, saddles, spurs, boots, and woolly chaps.
Yeah.
In case you were wondering.
Chicago Cowboys.
Yeah. In case you were wondering if they were those woolly ones or just those shit plain leather ones. No, they're the woolies. You want to take a look at that.
This is hysterical.
Actual death masks cast from dead outlaw faces.
Oh my God! What?
That sounds horrible.
What?
I don't want to see that.
And here you'll see the woolly chaps, and right there is a death mask.
Here's the death mask of John Dillinger. How do you think of that? Wow, but it's the Old West stuff, so it's even pre that. Handcuffs and badges from back then. Mineral and mining shit, including gold and silver mine tools and equipment. Civil War displaying weapons. Civil War display with weapons, medals, a Union soldier's diary, which records the personal insights and experiences of a Civil War soldier. And then a walk down the streets of yesteryear. Be transported to a barber shop, doctor's office, pawn shop, and so much more.
What? They don't have that downtown?
No, they're going to walk you around and go, back in the day, they needed a haircut, and they would come to a place like this where a man with scissors would cut their hair. It's we don't have that anymore in our modern society, but it's pretty awesome.
It's the invention of the Flowbee.
Yeah, we don't have that. Plus, there's gold panning, pony rides, a shooting gallery, slingshots, archery ranges, lazy canoes, hand carts, carousels, roping, runaway mine car roller coaster, Wild West stunt show, and the CP Huntington train ride. I'm in.
The West.
I'm
Chicago.
in. When I go to Chicago, I think I needed a really genuine, authentic Old West experience. That's why I came here. That's why I came here. When Frank Sinatra sang about Chicago, half of it was about cowboys and shootouts.
And the open range.
And the open range. And your woolly chaps and, things like that. Traditionally. Chicago is about that.
God damn it, that's so funny.
It's so weird and funny.
We're closer to Montana than that goddamn New York.
What the fuck is happening? I don't know what's going on, man. Crime rate in this town. Jesus. Property crime is about, it's a little bit lower than the national average, a little bit, about 25%. And then violent crime, murder, rape, robbery, and of course assault, the Mount Rushmore of crime, is less than half the national average. So it's safe here, apparently, from what I understand.
Gunslingers.
That said, Let's talk about a time when gunslingers ruled the streets.
Fantastic.
And the marshal patrolled the town. 1988, everybody.
Kept things safe.
Let's talk about a murder, shall we?
1988.
Let's talk about a murder, shall we, partners? Let's pony up to the bar.
I cannot believe how hard they go on cowboy culture. They're nowhere near it.
Gonna have myself a shot of sarsaparilla, and then I'm gonna go out and have me a gunfight. Oh, what the fuck? So let's do it.
Have me a sarsaparilla and roll down the street to get one of them Chicago pizzas.
One of them Chicago pizzas. I like it deep dish or cracker thin. One of the two.
Ride my trusty steed to a deep dish casserole.
I'm going to ride my trusty steed to a pizzeria Uno and sidle up beside it. That's the shit they put out to the rest
Unbelievable.
of the world. So this murder, let's get on with it here. Let's talk about a young lady, first of all.
All right.
It's 1988, like we stated before. The marshals are patrolling the streets, keeping it safe. Yeah. Very dusty, as you might imagine. Never mind. So let's talk about a young lady named Colleen Ritter. Okay, Ritter, like John. Yeah, but no relation, unfortunately, for everyone. We all love John Ritter. I mean,
he was amazing.
Hard not to love John Ritter. I grew up on Three's Company, big time. Yeah, as any sitcom that was on in repeats, I'd watch. So.
Yeah, but not just like his movie acting. Like Stay Tuned is still one of my favorite movies.
I watched Stay Tuned a month ago. It's on.
Do you know they're redoing it?
No.
Yes.
It's, you know what? They actually should, because that's such a great premise, and I don't think in 1990 they could do it exactly like they wanted to, or whenever it was from 92 or whatever the hell.
Something like that.
What a great premise, though, to get sucked in. It's interesting. You could do it with you can include the internet now. It's it'd be a good idea.
And the graphics of like cartoons now, because then it was just like rabbits and mice and shit like that.
It was ridiculous when they get sucked into the TV. It looked terrible.
So good.
Yeah. It's a great movie, though. I love that movie, especially when I was a kid. So Colleen Ritter is 17 years old in 1988. So you can imagine she's got probably some hair.
Yeah,
Debbie Gibson is pumping out of the pumping out of the.
What was the other chick's name?
Tiffany.
It was Tiffany. Yeah,
Tiffany. I think we're alone now. And the video is just her like singing at the mall, which was hilarious. Her with like a Mrs. Fields cookies behind her. That was always all the videos.
Wandering through a Tower Records.
Yeah, just looking and so singing a song from 1965. So Colleen Ritter. Colleen is she's a good kid. She's a popular kid in school from all accounts here. She's like an attractive young lady and an outgoing young lady and doing pretty well. Popular. She goes to Marion Central High School. She's on the volleyball team. So she's an athlete. She's also secretary of the student council. So she's very active in school activities. She ends up being elected homecoming queen at one point here. So she's a popular girl. People like her. She does very well for herself here. Bright future ahead of Colleen which gets good grades. From what everybody says, she's got a bright future here. Her parents are Ray and Ruth Ann Ritter.
Oh,
so
that's a lot of R's.
That's a lot. It's like, wow, Ray, Ruth Ritter. Ray was like, I'm going to find me a lady with an R name because I got a theme going and I'm not going to mess it up for anybody.
My last name's got two of them.
I'm doing it. Starts with an R and it ends with an R. That's right. So Ray and Ruth Ann were married young. They married in 1969. Beautiful. And, they were both young and, just doing their thing. So by 1988, they've been married for, 19 years now. They have 3 children together. So doing well there. They have a 17-year-old Colleen, who we just told you about, and they have 2 younger sons as well, 14-year-old Stephen, 11-year-old Matthew.
Fantastic.
So every 3 years they had him. Yeah. They left a little space. Let's get that kid out of it.
Colleen.
Stephen Matthew Colleen. It was like, well, let's wait till that one's out of diapers. Okay, now we'll have another one. So they even
smart move.
That's what I mean. They're very smart people. They have smart kids. Things are going well for them here. Ray, as a matter of fact, he's 43 in 1988, and he just got a big promotion. He works for Commonwealth Edison, which is he's a lineman. So
good for him.
Electric company guy.
Beautiful.
So good money, secure job. He was a lineman for 21 years. and just got a good promotion. So he's probably making some damn good money. And
I'll bet he is, yeah.
As we know, like as I've mentioned before, I don't know if anybody remembers, but you obviously electric company, and Sarah's father was a lineman forever and still works for the electric company, and he worked in Chicago as for an electric company. So it's he's that's always a sociable guy, a lineman. Yeah. All the linemen are very sociable guys.
Some of them, though,
surly.
temper.
Surly.
Yeah.
Surly, but
for
sociable.
Until they've had enough of your shit.
Yeah. Surly, but sociable. It's a dangerous goddamn job, too. It's a very dangerous job. It's
Don't bother me. I'm busy.
Guys get fried doing that, and it's not uncommon. So,
seen it.
Ray also does other thing. He coaches Little League as well. And like the team his son is on. This is not an orange slice guy. He's not like, I'm going to coach your kids and show up early and be weird. He's not one of those guys.
My kids playing. They're like, we need a coach.
He's like, well, fuck, I worked 20 hours overtime this week, but you know what? I'll do it. I'll be there on Saturday morning, exhausted, shit-faced from some old styles the night before. And
this phone rings. The kids are on your fucking own.
Yeah, that's he's got to go. So Ray, hardworking guy. Yeah. Good father from what everybody says, and well-liked in the community here. Ruth Ann as well. She's 2 years older than him. Another very well-liked person. She is just got a job in 1988 as a secretary at the Dean Street Elementary School. So I think she was getting back into the workforce from, just because the kids are getting older now, 11, 14, 17. So I think she's like, all right, time to dive back in here. Yep. So, she's going to do that. So this is a very all-American family in a very all-American town. This is everything should be safe and wonderful, and they're going to send all three kids to college, and then they're going to get middle management jobs, and then everybody's going to have more kids, and it's going to be very American dreamy going on over here, obviously. And then we have a show called Small Town Murder, and obviously that never happens. So something bad's going to happen to somebody.
Something's going to shatter that dream.
So now she worked. Talking of Mrs. Ritter here, Ruth Ann, her boss said she was concerned about her family and wanted to spend more time with them. She used to she had a different job before this, but it was too many hours. So she was like, I want to get into the workforce. I want to be in the workforce, but I still need to take care of my family and
the fucking workforce.
Yeah,
Jesus.
I want to be home when my kids get home and stuff like that. So she had worked at the St. Mary's auction with this guy had also worked at the St. Mary's auction doing charity work with Ray and Ruth. So they did charity work as well here. So they're nice people. He said that they were a fine family. He was the coach of Ray was the coach of Matthew's Little League team, and this guy that used to employ her said, quote, Colleen used to babysit for us. We've had good times together, meaning them and the Ritters. We have good memories of the Ritter family. They're good people, so they're just good people. They like hanging out with them. So they live in a 2-story house at 209 West Greenwood Avenue. It's a nice, quiet little street.
Yeah.
A little tree lined. I mean, it's you send your kid out riding their bike and shit like that.
Yeah.
This is middle America right here. And then near them, a few blocks away, is Colleen's boyfriend. Oh. She's 17, so she's got a boyfriend. His name is Richard Church. Okay. He goes by Rick, but it's hard not to call him Dickie Church. I mean, I don't know how it's,
Dick Church.
Dick Church. Come to the Church of Dick.
That's a 60-year-old great man's name.
Yeah.
Dick Church. I've grown up with this bullshit name.
He can say it with a straight face.
What's that?
Straight face, he says it to you. Dick Church, good to meet you. And he's like, yeah, that's right. Go ahead and say something about it. Like I never heard it before. Yeah.
Go ahead and try and be clever. Let's hear it.
Yeah, someone like that, you'd have to take a step back because you'd go, he's heard it all. Yeah. I got to go deep here. I can't have my first thought. So Richard here, Richard's 2 years older than Colleen. They met when he was a senior and she was a sophomore. So, you throw them all in the same cage, that's going to happen. It's fine. 2 years is still in the okay category. So he's an only child, Richard. His parents are Eugene Church and Cherry Church. That's his mom's name.
Stop it.
Cherry Church. Gene and Cherry Church. Rick, like I said, he grows up just a few blocks away. The house he grew up in, his grandfather built.
Of course he did.
His grandfather built it, and then his parents live in it now. So
beautiful.
Rick played Little League. Grew up playing Little League, which his father coached him in. He in high school, he's a football player. Does really well. In 1986, when he's a junior, he is the starting center on the Class 2A Division Championship team.
So he's a big kid.
Yeah, he's not that huge, though. To play offensive line in 1988 in a smaller community, you didn't have to be 300 pounds, I don't think.
But I mean, he's tall.
Oh, he's a big guy. Yeah, he's not a little guy. He's a formidable physical, person.
Yeah. Me as center, that QB's taking a lot of sacks.
he might have a little trouble. Yeah, it might be a rough one. Now
he's running a lot.
Oh shit! Jesus Christ, Whisman!
God, Jimmie, at least take somebody's ankles out. Christ, man!
Whisman, dive in his legs. He's going over you. Just try to trip him.
I'm out of breath from running. Jesus,
you're just like got cleat marks on you. Like I'm sorry. I tried. I really tried. I don't want anyone getting hurt out here, especially me. So Colleen's father, Ray, and Rick's father, Gene, worked together at Commonwealth Medicine. So, they're both there. They've worked together for 15 years, and for that long, they've carpooled together as well. Wow. So the dads drive to work together. He's from a couple houses over, big guy on the football team and gets good grades and all that kind of shit. And, so this is like the parents are happy with the relationship. Everybody's happy. Everybody's doing well. And they start, they're going out for a while. There were friends growing up, Rick and Colleen. They always knew each other because their parents were friends. And they began dating when he was a senior and she was a sophomore. So
unifying the two lineman families.
Yeah, this is so common. This happens all over the place. Rick, great student, like we said, seems to be a nice guy. Everybody says looks like a good boyfriend. All of her friends are, oh, well, you're so lucky. What a good guy Rick is, He's cool and smart and treats you nice. Yeah. That's fucking awesome. Rick is described by friends as handsome and intelligent and loyal and friendly as well. They do say that he's over rough and a little unpredictable. And I was just going to say he's a football player. He's a teenage football player. Hasn't figured that out yet. They also said he's a hard loser, which most good athletes are bad losers. Yeah. Every pro athlete will tell you a story when they were a kid and their older brother used to beat them. They'd throw a rock through the family car's windshield and climb a tree and sit there for 3 days. They'd lose their goddamn minds. That's motivation
Losing
to get
sucks.
better.
Yeah.
And they also said he was a bit of a loner. This is where you get real conflicting stories about Rick throughout this whole thing. Some people will say he's a total loner, doesn't want to be around anyone, and some people will say, "What a great guy! One of the gang, just a great guy." When you hang out with Rick, he's the life of the party. You're like, which one is he? What is this guy? So it's a little hard to remember. His football coach, Marion Central High School coach Don Penza, describes him as, quote, very intelligent, strong-minded, but an excellent cooperative student. Like most of our kids, he got by in football using his head. Okay, I guess I don't know if he means physically or mentally. He said, though, saying he also had a stubborn streak, but he took to coaching very well also. So
sounds like a teenage boy.
Sounds like a teenage boy. Yeah, that's what your high school football coach. Your job is to kind of mold that, to sort of thing if they want to go on with football anyway. So the relationship between Rick and Colleen, they would go out a lot, hang out with friends and stuff. After a while, though, I guess Rick liked to stay in and watch movies and TV and stuff and kind of became a little bit more home-oriented, which for teenagers is a little different, teenagers don't want to sit at home and do that sort of thing, but I guess he does. Yeah. And she didn't want to do that after a while. She was like, well, I want to go out and do stuff. Let's go do stuff. And he's like, no, I don't want to do that. Fucking, what is this?
Down at the Shake Shack. Let's go.
What is this, 88? Perfect Strangers is on, Alpha's coming up. I really got to stick around here.
Balky is criminally underfollowed on Twitter.
Bronson Pinchot?
Oh, it is embarrassing how
he's done a lot of good shit.
He's terrific.
He's done a lot of funny shit in his day.
He has.
Mean, just for Beverly Hills Cop is terrific.
I believe he's read he does voiceover for like audiobooks, and I think he's the leading guy to read those now.
He used to do like Disney shit too all the time.
Yeah,
he was like,
voice stuff.
Yeah, voice stuff. He's done really well for himself.
He's so good.
Good for Balky. So that's what I mean. He wants to support Bronson Pinchot's budding comedic
career. Yeah,
rise to fame.
Yeah.
Rick wants to stay home, and Colleen's like, "Listen, I think Balky's going to do fine on his own.
We'll watch it next week.
We'll check it out later." Then she kind of got a little tired of, he was kind of possessive, that teenage boy thing. And from what everybody says, it doesn't go beyond that. He doesn't do anything out of bounds, but just kind of annoying stuff. Like, who you hanging out with? Who's going to be there? Why were you talking to that guy at school? Insecure, jealous, possessive shit. That sucks too. Teenage boys, that's a hard thing to get over. And you got to work on that. That's you have to actively work on that.
But it's almost like I don't know what the solution is, obviously, because I don't fix anything.
No, I don't know how to fix it.
I know what my personal shit was. It was a lot of abandonment issues, so I was always scared that everybody was leaving me, and but I would take it out on me, not everybody else.
Yeah, but most of the time you were right. They were leaving you, right? So there you go. That's what happens.
Everybody left.
Yeah, so you were just keeping your guard up. That's all.
Yeah.
This is why I'm terrible, and I'd be a bad therapist. I'd be like, "You're right. It does suck." Yeah. Well, aren't you going to tell me something good?
All the horrible, and you just go, yeah, it's all horrible.
It is. It's hard. Maybe that's what some people need, though. They just need to know that they're not fucking crazy for feeling like this. You go,
it's true.
What? You're not. You should feel like shit right now. And they go, oh, all right. Well, fuck. All right, that makes sense.
I'll bet 75% of my therapy sessions are just going, well, yeah, obviously.
Okay. Well, there you go. Perfect. I'm a pro.
Obviously, you're white trash. What else do you expect?
What do you expect? You have half a finger. Where do you think that came from? That's bad parental supervision. That wasn't.
Clearly, you were not set up for anything.
You're not set up for success, Jimmie Whisman. So, one of her friends said, quote, if Colleen said she already had plans, he would tell her to cancel them and to go out with him. She usually didn't, though. So she still didn't, she wasn't going to give in to all of it, and that's why she kind of got tired of it. She also said, this friend, he was always checking up on her to make sure she wasn't hanging out with other guys. He was extremely jealous, and he used to get really mad when other guys talked to her. Colleen began losing a lot of friends because all the time she spent with Rick. So this is kind of cutting into her social life, and that's the thing about high school, like deep relationships in high school.
It's impossible.
If you want to be like a social person and have a deep relationship, it's very difficult because they're always going to clash. There's always other guys and other girls and all that shit, and it's hard for kids to deal with. It's a lot to do. Yeah. So Rick ends up going to college because, like we said, he was a senior. So he ended up going to college at Northern Illinois University. And so now he's away. And so it's hard.
Not far, though, right?
Not too far, but he's not there. So for a possessive guy to be away, he's really trying to keep his...
answer that phone when I call.
Well, he's trying to keep his tentacles in there, and he would call her almost every night, even if he didn't want to have anything to talk about. He was just calling her to keep her on the phone. Hey, how's it going?
Be quiet on the phone?
What you doing? I don't know, watching Perfect Strangers. Oh, me too. All right, great. That Balky's fucking hilarious. Man, that Bronson Pinchot is really an underrated comedic force.
That's so weird.
I feel like I'd like to go to that island of Meatpost and see what's going on there, because if everybody's as funny as this fella, I think it'd be a great place to be. And she's like, I got to go now. I have homework. Enjoy Meatpost.
Tower Records has a sale. I gotta go.
Is that where he's from? I think that's where he was from. I think so, I just pulled Meatpost out of my ass. That's a dangerous medical condition too.
Meatpost in your ass?
I pulled a little meatpost out of my ass. Oh, come right in, a doctor will say. Come right in. Just tell them at the desk there was meatpost, and they'll send you right back. Don't worry.
I've already got a script called into here.
We're going to need an MRI stat. This is bad. Oh, boy. So he also plastered her pictures all over his dorm room walls at NIU. All of her pictures. That's what, yeah, hopefully he's not whacking off to it in the middle of the room. One side of the room had a bulletin board that his friend said was just covered with pictures of her, including a poster-sized photo of her dressed as Cyndi Lauper. So I guess he had a like a Halloween picture fucking blown up.
Yeah,
like and made a poster for his room. So when she wasn't around or had to work or something or had homework, he'd get all pissed off. Like, I tried to call you, and she's like, I was at work. Yeah. Well, damn it, why? You should have called me back. So she would get annoyed by this, and eventually she told her parents about it, and they said no. They loved the relationship, but they said, if you're not happy, then you should end the relationship. You're a young girl. You're 17 years old. You don't need to be beholden to some guy that's, you're not really that interested in. He's at college. And then this is when you have to explain to a kid that, like, sometimes relationships have like a natural end to them.
Yeah.
And that's what happens when you're a kid. That's why getting into a deep relationship sucks, because they have natural ends of they're leaving and going over here and you're going over here to live lives. So it's
hard.
It's hard. It's what happens. So Rick's college friend here, who was a year older than him in school, Matthew Woodruff is his name. He called church, said he had a temper and was an almost what he described as an obsessive desire to have things his way. It was very into something. He says, quote, he just had a short fuse. There would be times he was cool, so good to be around. Then he would just turn on you. He would throw things or come at you if things didn't go his way. As long as they went his way, he'd be happy. Last year, he told me he would get into fights around school, mostly at the bars. So
he's too young for that, first of all.
Yeah, he went to college and went to the bars and was just getting fights with people, and he's kind of a malcontent at this point, kind of a grumpy, an angry young man. That's not,
Truly. What the fuck, man?
Sounds
Why is he so mad?
I don't know, but it sounds like a real dangerous, volatile. It's a volatile cocktail is what it is here. So now Rick, eventually, his goal was to be a corporate lawyer, which, I mean, getting in fights in bars around campus isn't going to get you there probably, but that's
a lot of centers go after that. That's interesting.
It's true. Yeah. I mean, like we said, maybe he didn't get hit in the head that much. That's good for him. Yeah. So, but come 1988, we're in June of 1988. He's going to come home for the summer, and he finds out that his parents have filed for divorce that month.
Oh.
And he's very upset about this. Way more upset than a 20-year-old should be about their parents getting divorced.
Worry about your own relationship, man.
Like, sad is one thing. To be sad is a thing. That's totally understandable. But he's angry at them for it. Like, he's angry. He's angry like an 8-year-old would be if their parents got divorced. That's like, when you're 20, you're like, oh, that sucks. Well, I don't live here anymore. It doesn't shake
your life up at all, man. You've got a dorm room.
That's what I mean. Well, I'm living my life now, and that's their I don't know. There's just he doesn't deal with it well, apparently, here. So they end up selling the house that he grew up in.
Ouch.
That, his grandfather built and all that kind of shit.
Oh, boy.
So the divorce is final in December of 1988. The mother, Cherry, ends up remarrying, and she marries a guy named Ken Cott, K-O-T, Ken Cott. Really? Ken Cott, he's a pharmacist, and they move to California, Huntington Beach.
Wow.
So within, a year, 6 months, a year or whatever, she's in Huntington Beach.
She loves men who have the same first initial of the first name and last name.
Yeah.
Loves it.
She took her a while to find it. That's like on Curb Your Enthusiasm. Like he was looking for his Mary Ferguson. He's like, finally, I found him. So Ricky comes home, and parents are getting divorced. They're moving out of the house. So you got to, by the way, pack your room up and do all of that shit. Yeah. Make sure to get all your He-Man and everything out of there.
Get every memory that you love.
Everything. And he also finds out that he has not earned enough credits to enroll in his sophomore year. So he's not going to advance. He's got to do, more classes over again.
Some
and
junior shit. Oh, no.
So, things aren't going well. And then Colleen tells him that the relationship's over as well.
Holy shit, his whole world caved in.
So his world kind of caved in on him. She told him he was too possessive. She said she still wanted to be friends with him, as you do when you're 17 and you're trying to let somebody down lightly. Yeah. I hate you and don't want to, the thought of being around you physically repulses me, but let's be friends.
Maybe we can try that.
Let's just try to hang out once in a while. So she had tried several times to end it, and this was kind of the one where she stuck to it and was like, no, it's over for real. Because when you're a kid too, you take people back because you feel bad and you haven't figured it out.
It's hard to end that relationship too. Yeah. Especially she cares about him, obviously. She's got a heart.
And she's a nice girl. She just hasn't been calloused over enough yet to be like, nope, over, fuck off, take a hike.
I had to pull over a car and break up with a girl in the passenger seat, James, because it took like 8 months to try to break up with this girl.
That's the thing, and when it's time, and that's what it says right there. Doesn't matter what.
This closed laundromat's good enough. This is good.
Me and you are going to sit outside the memory of someone's dirty laundry.
And then I had to drive her home in her car.
That's the problem, is when you're in the car, unless you're at the destination, that's not really thinking ahead.
I really just had enough and had to have a talk.
Were you like 2 days away from her house, or were you 15 minutes?
8. It was down the street.
You should have waited. You should have waited. You definitely should have waited.
It was a dick move.
That way you could have just exited the car and the relationship all in one move rather than.
Then we had a very silent drive. Well, not really silent. She was crying hysterically. And then obviously.
And then you stopped at Arby's.
Yeah.
You were like, you want anything? And she's like, what?
They're 4 for $5. Will you eat 2 of them?
She doesn't want anything. No, curly fries, though, still. Yeah, no, keep them on there. I'll take them. Fuck her. Very nice, Jimmy.
Pulled in her parents' driveway. I got out and got in my truck and just drove away.
That's all you got to do, man. But yeah, you should have waited 5 minutes on that one. That would have been a better move. So a few weeks after he gets home, midsummer time, Colleen goes on vacation, and that's when she comes back and she's like, I don't give a shit what he says, because he was still thinking like, we're sort of broken up, but we're kind of together. We're taking a break, or whatever the fuck. At that point, she says, I'm done here. And her friend says, quote, so when she came back, she called him and broke up over the phone, not because there was anything wrong with him, just because she wanted her freedom. Didn't hate him or anything. She just liked being free. She wanted to talk to other guys. She's 17. It's totally normal.
She broke up with him with the excuse of, I'm 17. I can't do this.
This is too deep for me at this point. So for a while, next couple weeks, the end of July, he's calling her. They would argue. And her friend said he would pop up once in a while if he wanted to try to talk to her or something like that. But it never really got anything out of control or anything that was considered dangerous or anything. So he was kind of obsessive, though. One of his friends said Rick always wanted it to be just him and her together on dates, not going out with their friends. So they thought that was kind of weird, because this is a coworker of Colleen's. She worked at Woodstock Ice Cream Company. And she says about Colleen, she didn't like that. From what I saw lately, she wasn't unhappy about ending it with Rick. So she's happy to be done. Mid-August 1988 comes up here, and Rick quits his job. He had a summer job. He quits his job as a groundskeeper for the St. Mary's Catholic Church. He worked there for the past 5 summers. I guess this is what he does every summer. He does like the landscaping and maintenance and shit like that. So there's a guy named Ed Finkel who worked with him, and he said that Rick wanted to take some time off before returning to NIU, and that was his, he's going to be a 3rd semester freshman, which everybody's happy for.
Yikes.
So Rick spent his last week on the job mowing grass and trimming bushes at the Cavalry Cemetery on Jackson Street, and this Finkel guy said Rick seemed a little preoccupied and distracted that week. Each day after lunch, he would return to he would go to the school instead of the cemetery. So he would take off at lunch. He would ghost out at lunch. And then on his last day of work, for some reason, he demolished a large wooden desk with a sledgehammer. Like his way of his Antonio Brown moment, where he was just like, I'm done, motherfucker. He had a total
taking his pads off.
A half-baked meltdown. Just fuck you, the whole thing. This guy said he was supposed to move it to another classroom, but he said it was too big. It was the last thing he did here. Quote, he loved to destroy things. He was strong. He would always jump at the chance to do the wrecking around here. So he liked to break stuff. They said that he beat the shit out of the desk, just bashed it to splinters with a sledgehammer.
Yeah.
And, so this is, like I said, kind of first week of August, something like that. And he talked to a friend of his about wanting to commit suicide one day. And then later on, though, he talked about that he decided that was bad and then he's just going to have to move. And he said that he's just going to stay up at NIU and try to do well in school and try to get over it, basically. Try to get over. He's like, I got Colleen breaking up with me, my parents, the house. He goes, if I just stay at school and immerse myself in that, maybe I can get through it that way. So, I mean, he's trying. So a weird thing happened here. There was an bit of unpleasantness between Rick and Colleen's father, Ray. Apparently, this was after the breakup. They ran into each other at a store, and Ray didn't talk to Rick. He ignored him. So Rick became angry and was said to, in the middle of the store, has said, just because your daughter broke up with me doesn't mean you have to ignore me. And which, I mean, that's fair. He's known him since he was a little kid. I mean, he could say hi. I mean, he didn't, not like he beat his daughter up or anything. They just broke up. He could wave to him or something. But I get it, too, if you're trying to stay out of it.
Yeah,
I understand.
There's that. And then also, if you're a dad, the best thing to say is nothing at all. If you have nothing nice to say. You know
that's
what I mean?
what I mean right there. Yeah. If you're a dad and you just want to, look, I'm not going to get involved in this.
Yeah.
I'm staying out of this.
Maybe he's frustrated with the way he treated his daughter. Who knows?
Yeah. Well,
it's Ray's prerogative.
That's what I'm saying. So he might have thought that maybe the parents made her break up with me, or who knows. Yeah. So who knows what's in a kid's mind, or a 20-year-old guy's mind. So the friend said after that Rick apparently hated her dad. He was very mad. He would talk about it all the time, what a dick he was, and how dare he snub me. He snubbed me. We're out in public, and he's snubbing me. I got a reputation to uphold here. Come on. Don't be snubbing me.
I said hello, goddammit.
You heard me. So August 20th, 1988 comes around, and that day, heading toward the evening, Rick and his mom stop at the video store. Oh, boy. Yeah. That's a great phrase to say.
It was a lot of fun that night.
Stop at the video store, and they rent two films, From Russia with Love and Hang 'em High. So a Western and a kind of a classic. So there you go. A strange combination. I think probably Hang 'em High was for him because that's the one he watched. Okay. They picked up a pizza on their way home as well. So it's pizza and movie night. It's a Saturday night. Rick's going to eat the movies, watch the pizza, and his mother's going out.
He's going to what?
Did I say eat the movies and watch the pizza?
You did.
He's going to get real drunk, Jimmy. That's what he does when he gets drunk. He's got videotape hanging out of his mouth, and he just puts a pizza up and watches it. And he says it's boring after about an hour because this pizza is not – the storyline sucks. There's no character development in this pizza. There's just pepperoni, and it's staring at me. And frankly, I'm not impressed.
It's watching the cheese ooze out of that crust.
Yeah, cuz I'm just not impressed. This is the part.
I can't believe you did that.
I can't either. Oh, I'm so tired. It's been such a week.
I'm more impressed that I caught it, to be honest with you.
I'm happy that you did. Catch me on, call me on it. Fuck me. I mean, who cares? It's been a week.
That's so funny.
I haven't slept well. I have problems. The goddamn fucking suit taking 4 days to get. I have my grandmother's funeral on Friday. I'll let you in on this. And I ordered I had to get a suit, and I had to get it overnighted here, and it shows up 4 days later, so then I got to go to some little Italian man tomorrow, and he's promised me he can fucking alter it in a day, and we had to tell him, he's an Italian guy, we had to tell him his last name is Pietragallo, and his grandma died, so please, and he was like, oh, okay, fine. So this is what I get now. I got to deal with this shit. My fucking shoes that I ordered along with the suit, I get a box. I'm like, oh, great, my shoes and my suit. It's a little light. Well, that's because it's only a suit. That's why. There's
no size 14s in here.
Where are my shoes? Well, Texas, as you might imagine, where everyone's shoes are. And will apparently remain in Texas until my estimated delivery date of May 22nd.
when the ground is good and hard from burying Grandma.
We're going to wait till the ground thaws to send you them shoes. So, yeah, this is, by the way, if you're listening in the future, it's now like January 5th. So the funeral's on the 7th, and my shoes get here on the 22nd of May. So this is my frustration, and so here I am.
And
I apologize.
How you eat movies and watch pizza.
That's how you end up watching a pizza. Because I just put that there because that's what I did last night. I ate movies and watched pizza because my brain was so fried. I told Sarah, I said, put the sausage on. I want to see what that one has to. It's going to be a good one. But now, put the sausage pie up there. Let's take a look at it. So my favorite.
This one's going to win an award.
It's beautiful, right? Jeez, this is excellent. Is this up? This is up for Oscars this year, right? I nominate the Green Peppers as Best Supporting Actor. My favorite part of this night that Rick is having here is that him and his mom went out, rented movies, got a pizza, and then she brought him home and went out. So like he was 12 years old. She's like, well, I'll rent movies and get you a pizza, and then Mommy will be back by midnight. Like that's
I'll feed you and keep you occupied for 3 hours, and hopefully you fall asleep in that time.
Before I get home. This is amazing. So that's his plan. Now, according to him, he also drank beer. Then he moved on to whiskey.
Oh.
Beer before liquor. That's not good. It's never been sicker, my friend.
Yeah.
Smoked some weed and then took, and now he can't remember because once you've had,
all of that.
Weed and beer and whiskey, your memory gets fuzzy.
Yeah.
He said he either took LSD, which is a lot if you know if you're tripping, by the way. I remember just about every acid trip I've ever taken because it was like that was an event, It's nothing you're like, did I trip that day? He either took LSD, PCP, because he would take them both once in a while, or both. He's not sure.
What kind of night to have alone?
Pizza and PCP. This is a great night. Pizza CP.
And hang 'em high.
And hang 'em high. Let me trip out and drink whiskey and take PCP while I eat this pizza and watch Hang 'em High.
He is trying everything to fill whatever hole is in him. He's just stuffing everything in it.
He's having a Saturday night to himself here. The neighbors said he was frequently going in and out that night, too, just popping in and out. This is the duplex that his mother lives in now, because they moved out of the family home. So he said he is just in and out constantly of the place, just running around, which who the hell knows if he's on all that shit. Anything's possible. So, he's doing everything like that. Colleen, on the other hand, went out with her girlfriends that night.
Yeah.
Saturday night, her girlfriends Amy Quinlan and Lisa Affield. They were both 17, her classmates. They both go to, it's a Catholic high school. They both go there. Amy also works with Colleen at the Woodstock Ice Cream Company. So, normal. Did nothing too important. They drove around, had a regular old, American Graffiti kind of night. Yeah. Fucking drove around Woodstock, having a dazed and confused evening.
Eating a pilfered strawberry cone from the shop.
That's all. That's it. Oh, there was a pilfered cone in there. No parties or anything. Didn't really see anybody. They literally just drove around, stopped at McDonald's and that sort of shit. Sometimes there's nothing happening.
Yeah.
So now Stephen Ritter, he's the younger brother. He's the 14-year-old at the time. He spent the night hanging out with his friends in Crystal Lake, which is a nearby town. And Matthew, the 11-year-old, had a friend over, a neighbor named Jack, who was, his buddy from the neighborhood. He was sleeping over that night at their house, at the Ritter house. So that's what the Ritters are doing. And around midnight, Rick tries to call Colleen at home. Colleen had already gotten home. Apparently they had only talked for a couple minutes, but it was friendly, no arguing, and she hung up. So there was that. Now, Ray and Ruth Ann, the parents, they were out that night at an Irish festival in Milwaukee.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. They're going to tie one on nice.
That's a party.
That's a party. An Irish festival. You want to talk about mixing two forms of drinking cultures together. Yeah. Milwaukee and Irish is about the two you were going to mix together, and you're going to get something there.
Dropkick Murphys play that festival every year.
It's the same. Yeah, they probably still do. It's the same one.
That has got to be the most genius group on the planet. they're absolutely the biggest Irish band, and they've got to play.
Yeah,
there's an Irish festival everywhere.
Yeah,
they're
feel like
all
they were
year long.
Look, ever since Everlast went solo, there's been a huge hole in the Irish festival market. Ever since House of Pain broke up, we can take this over.
Yeah.
I think we can take it over.
Thank you, Departed, for making that song so fucking big. We will play this forever.
Let's learn Jump Around just in case. They might expect it. They're going to be shit-faced. We don't want to get them angry.
Yeah.
So
is that Flogging Molly? Oh, it's Flogging Molly and Dropkick Murphys. Both of them.
Same thing.
Well, yeah, it doesn't matter. It's the same shit. It sounds exactly the same.
It would be funny if they were the same band. They just changed clothes and shit. Quick, you play bass now, and you've got guitar player play drums. Okay, yeah, no one will notice.
I don't know what they look like. Who gives a shit?
Guys will punch each other to that, right?
Going down to Boston.
Right. Guys in Rob Gronkowski jerseys will punch each other with this, right? This will work, I think.
Rob Gronkowski jersey and a fucking kilt. Punch him.
Punch him. So, they were out with their friends at the Irish Festival in Milwaukee. So that's an hour and a half away. Now, they're all there. Richard, he called at midnight. They had a little conversation. He called back again a little bit later, and he was begging her to talk to him again and let's hang out one more time. And, I'm going back to school soon. Come hang out with me. All this shit. At one point, he just asked a couple of questions. He wanted to know, well, who's staying? She's like, well, I have my friend here. Well, who is it? Who's staying over? Like it matters. And, what are you guys doing? What's going on? What are you up to? And at this point, she had both Amy and Lisa over. And Lisa left soon after that because she had a contact lens problem. She had to go home and fix that. That's a nightmare.
Worst.
That's a nightmare.
It's up under my eyelid. I can't move it.
Oh, God, Jesus, it's bent. It's bent.
I can't get it.
And you do this with your hands. You just wave your fingers in the air.
Like, what do I do?
I've seen people do that. I'm like, whoa, contacts must suck. That is really weird.
I wore them for a long time. It is a nightmare.
I scream, my eyes.
Yeah, but I'm not letting anybody cut on them. Fuck that.
No, that's just strange, even with a laser. Yeah. So they end up getting home a little later, Ray and Ruth Ann from the Irish Festival. And, they do that kind of shit. They get home, and the girls are doing their thing. The boys are, going to sleep eventually. It's two slumber parties and
having a great time.
Parents who've probably had a couple of beers that night. I don't know if they're drunk or not, but they've had a couple of beers at the Irish Fest, I'm sure.
Summer night.
Yeah, why not? So apparently, like we said, while this is happening, Rick is going in and out of the condo all night long.
Okay.
And the last time they talked on the phone that night, she told him, look, my friend's here and I can't talk anymore. Like, this is ridiculous. Then she says, listen, I started dating somebody else too, so it's over. It's definitely over. I started dating someone else. So apparently Rick just got really mad and hung up on her at that point. Just was like, all right, well, that's that. So then he sat there. He watched Hang 'em High, did all of the, this buffet of drugs that we talked about and booze.
The accoutrement of a lonely man.
The accoutrement of a lonely man. It's a good name for the,
it's a good country
episode.
Album.
That is a good country album. It's a tier. That's the accoutrement of a lonely man. So it's quiet until about 5 a.m. About 5 a.m., there's some things going on here. Amy Quinlan, her friend, is sleeping in Colleen's room. Outside her bedroom door, she heard the younger brother, Matthew, what sounded like moaning out there.
Oh.
So she nudged Colleen awake, said, hey, Colleen, something's going on outside your door here. Now, she hears all of this going on, and at the same time, a guy named Tim Paul now is getting ready for a fishing trip across the street. He's the guy who lives across the street. It's about a little after 5 a.m. He looks out his window and sees Colleen run outside screaming.
Oh, boy.
Into the street. Now, another neighbor, Chris Gerke, he said that he looked out the same window and saw a man beating Colleen, quote, like a maniac.
Oh, boy.
Jesus Christ. All the windows in another house, there's a guy named Jim Meisel. He's got all his windows open. It's an August morning, have all the windows open. Get some air before you have to close up.
Lovely morning.
He said he heard the commotion in the street. He said it came through loud and clear. He said, I heard a neighbor yelling, call the cops, call the cops. I jumped up, put on my pants, and went over. At first, I thought it was a hit and run, as he just found. What he found was Colleen lying in the middle of the street covered in blood.
Oh, my.
So he figured she got hit by a car. And luckily he's a former rescue worker, so it's a good guy to be the first guy to get there. And he uses his hands to put pressure to cover up a large wound that Colleen has in the back of her head, and another one on her body as well. So he said she's got multiple wounds, but he's like, these look like the two worst, and he's trying to cover them up.
Run over by a Mad Max vehicle with spikes all over it?
Well, let's find out. What ended up happening was at 5:12 a.m. that morning, Ray Ritter woke up to find Rick Church standing next to his bed.
Oh, boy.
And he said, what are you doing here? You have no business here. Get the hell out of here, he shouted at him. Why are you standing in my bedroom? So what Rick does is he pulls up a handmade gardening tool that he made that is on it's a 25-inch long stick with an 1.25 inch round. It's a 25-inch long, 1.25 inch round wooden stick, so like a big broomstick, basically.
That's a big one.
That's a big one. That's like a rake or like a hoe or something, like a gardening tool, like a sturdy one. With a large nail sticking out of one end of it that he's made. So it's just a giant poker.
It's like
basically
a spear.
It's like a spear. So he ends up attacking Rick with this spear and stabbing him many, many times with this hammer or with this nail
implement. Yeah.
At the same time, Ruth wakes up next to him, and he has a claw hammer with him, and he just pummels Ruth with a claw hammer, and then also takes a couple of shots at Ray with it too, just for good measure.
Yeah.
So he leaves them behind. Now Matthew is in his second floor bedroom, and he hears someone coming up the stairs. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. It's not normal. Rick comes into the bedroom, presses a towel over Matthew's face, and stabs him in the right side of the abdomen.
Oh, my God.
With the piece of wood with the nail in the end of it.
Jesus.
There. So, the same one he used on the father. Then he grabbed, then he also has a 7.5 inch knife on him, knife blade, like a big fucking butcher knife that he keeps on him.
He is well armed.
He came with some homemade weapons here, and he then stabs him in the arms and the lower stomach with the 7.5 inch knife.
Jesus Christ.
This is when Matt was yelling, Call, help me. He's yelling for Colleen because she's in the closest room nearby because the parents are on a different floor. Their room's downstairs. It's one of those. So that's when Amy hears that commotion and wakes up Colleen. Colleen gets out of the bed, hears Matthew, runs into the hallway, and finds Rick stabbing the shit out of her little brother while her brother, begs for mercy. So she goes, Rick, what the fuck? What are you doing? So he throws her down on the hallway floor, Colleen, and starts to stab her with the 7-inch knife.
Wow.
Stabs her so much that the knife is later found with the blade is bent.
What the fuck, man?
That's how much he's stabbing people. He pulled her hair while she's on the ground, grabs her by the hair, pulls her up into a sitting position with his left hand, and then with his right hand stabs her repeatedly in the back of the head.
What the shit?
I don't know if he's trying to cut her spinal cord or what the fuck he's trying to do, but holding her, just stabbing her like a madman in the back of the head.
Yeah.
Wild. They were, you could hear them. That's how awful it was. So she's screaming for help. At this point, somehow, I don't know if he stabs her a bunch and kind of takes a break to assess the damage or whatever. She somehow slips out of this and just starts running.
Good for her.
Colleen is she's tough, man. She gets up, she starts running, bursts out the back door and into the driveway, and that's when that guy was looking out the window, saw her running out, and then neighbors said at that point it sounded like a cat fight. They said it was just like noises and no words, screams, noises, moans. So they saw Rick beating Colleen, quote, with some type of club, which is his.
It's a hammer.
Right? No, it's a stick with a nail in it. That's what That's what he's beating her with. So another guy here, another neighbor. This is before the one got to her and thought she got hit by a car. The first neighbor to arrive is Timothy Paulnow, and he ran toward them, yelling at Rick to stop. Mm-hmm. So finally, as he got close to this guy, Rick actually did stop because he was like, "Oh fuck," he doesn't know if this guy's going to shoot him or something. So he stops.
Somebody saw this.
During this whole thing, Colleen tried to defend herself. She bit him in the hand at one point.
Good girl.
While he was stabbing her in the back of the head, she got his hand and bit it. At one point, she didn't know what else to do. She told him, I stop, I love you, just to try to get him to stop. And he didn't even pause. He just kept hacking at her. That didn't matter at all. At one point, before she got outside, she grabbed the phone and tried to dial 911. She's trying to call 911. He ripped the phone away, threw it against the dresser, and grabbed her again. And at some point, he lost the knife in the bedroom. So the knife ends up staying in the house. So it's fucking, this is horrible, man. So now after he left, the phone rings in the house, and it's the police who were able to track the 911 call. She called it hung up, but they tracked her.
Yep, they're calling right back.
The opposite of a few weeks ago when they were like, it's probably a prank.
Right.
And that poor girl died from that. That poor woman died.
Serious.
Yeah. So Matthew answers the phone. Okay. He's been stabbed terribly. He's bleeding everywhere. He answers the phone, says, "Oh, shit, thank you." Yes, gives him the address. Yeah. So they come over. Police and ambulance are there pretty soon. One of the neighbors had come out, like we said, and one of the neighbors there told the police right away that it was this guy, Rick Church. It's this girl's boyfriend. We've seen him forever. He went back, and we think he's still in the house. I think he went back in the house afterwards, they said. God. So police are searching. They block off the house, get her, as well as they can. There's like 3 cops in the entire department. So as we'll hear from this, the only person that they didn't send out was the dispatcher. Everybody else was like out doing stuff here. So they do all of that. Medics are attending to Colleen. They find Matthew inside the house. He's in shock. By the way, his friend is there.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a sleepover. His friend is completely unharmed, though. He didn't even look at his friend. Amy, completely unharmed.
Wow.
Completely unharmed. Neither of them even touched.
Not completely, but yeah, physically.
Maybe not. Yeah, mentally they're a little messed up, but not stabbed.
Okay.
I mean, unstabbed, we'll call them.
There we go.
So, unstabbed, no injuries.
Every drop of blood of their own still in their body.
That's it. So Matthew ended up being able to walk out of the house on his own power, actually. Wow. But he ends up spending several days in the hospital recovering from a stab wound there. Colleen, on the scene, identifies Rick to the police. It was my boyfriend Rick, and the neighbor said, yeah, I saw him. It was definitely Rick. Then the police find the bodies of Ruth and Ray inside the home. And Raymond's body, very bloody here, is found at the foot of his bed on the first floor. And his wife here, Ruth Ann, is on her back with a pillow over her face. Okay. So I don't know if he did that to fend off any, I don't know what the fuck he was doing to try to make it quieter, I guess. So and sometime they end up finding too, and if anyone can find this, I would love to know what the fuck he wrote. But some point he grabbed like a Sharpie and wrote on the refrigerator something. They just said he wrote something indicating a possible vendetta. I don't know what that means. I don't know what he wrote on the fridge, but he wrote something on the fridge. Okay. Like trying to be like the Manson family, I guess. I don't know what the fuck he's doing. So one of the state investigators, whose name is Queerhammer, by the way.
Awesome.
Yeah. He says, you could say he snapped, and I'm sure the attorneys later will argue temporary insanity, but I think he just had a big ego that got flattened, and I think it was revenge. They find no evidence of a break-in, which they suspect that Church came in through a back door using a key that they kept in the garage that he would have known about.
Yep.
because he's been with her for a couple of years now. So Jesus Christ. So, yeah, it's a spike driven in the end of a wooden broom pole, they said. That is one thing that they know. It's the kind you pick up litter with. A stabby litter pickers.
Jesus.
That's what he used. And also a knife and also a hammer. So the main investigator said only the individual who commits the crime knows what happened. Boy, this case isn't going to be blown by something I said that some lawyer can ask me about later. I'm not going to take those chances. He says you want him to know as little as possible so he can't fool you. Once we've got him, we've got to try him, and I don't want to jeopardize that case. So actually that's smart. Not going, well, we think the evidence here now. Let me handle this for you. Put my fingerprints on it and really show you a lot. So they said the evidence indicates that Ruth Ann was attacked in her sleep and that the intruder struggled to kill Ray because his body was found at the foot of the bed and she was found like in bed.
Yeah,
so they said
because linemen are fucking tough.
And they're going to be tough. Yeah, he's going to be, he's only 43 too. He's going to be quite formidable. A 43-year-old lineman will kick your ass. It's not a guy you want to really fight in the bar, you know what I mean? At the Irish festival. He'll probably, he's going to put up quite the fight probably, at least.
Yeah. There are a lot of those guys that served in the military and then went into lineman work, too. They're stone-cold killers.
Yeah, they don't care. So they both died from brain injuries caused by massive blows to the head by a blunt instrument. So and Ray was also stabbed. So they think the hammer actually inflicted the death blows here for them. Ruth Ann is declared dead at 6 a.m. and her husband at 6:01 a.m. because that's the order they got to them in. Okay. Literally, that's the order of the medical examiner. Okay, examine her. She's dead at 6:01. She's at 6. He's dead 6:01. That's not when they died. We'll talk about here because that comes up. Now, Colleen and Matthew, like we said, is released from the hospital. Colleen's in critical condition. She's been stabbed 22 times.
My Christ.
A lot of that concentrated in the back of her head.
Yeah, all over the place.
All over the place. She suffered from a collapsed lung and a hole at the base of her skull. The surgeon spent 7 hours removing pieces of her skull from her brain. Wow. They feared that she might be permanently blinded or suffer irreversible brain damage. This is fucking horrible. They said the rescue chief, Ron Anderson, said in the case of Colleen, it was a major trauma. Yeah, I would say so. This guy, by the way, who saved her ended up receiving a certificate of merit for saving her life. So Colleen, when she comes around a little bit, says she believes that Rick planned the murders. She says that his sudden decision to stay at NIU, all of a sudden he was going to go back, and he had a short, weird phone call at midnight that was a strange tone, and she believes that he planned on murdering Ray and Ruth Ann and then killing Matthew so that way he could do whatever he wanted with Colleen and take his time killing her.
Yeah.
That's what she thinks. But psychologists they're talking to during the whole thing, they're saying that it was probably more of an impulsive thing. Based on everything, they said people go into a kind of a frenzy and keep going. Whoever is around may be at risk. So
also, the dad was at the bottom floor. It's convenience.
It's convenient.
That's the first area of people when he knows that.
If you're gonna go in and kill somebody, you're gonna first of all you have to take care of who's my obstacle. My obstacle is Dad. Right. Dad's a 43-year-old lineman.
He snubs me at Walmart, so he's clearly got problems.
He's my obstacle. I got to take care of the parents because they're adults. Right. Then the kid just happened to fucking find him, and that's what happened there. So the kid he ended up taken out. It's crazy. So they said that you're supposed to. These guys have a thing. Guys like this will have a thing where they'll snap about somebody breaking up with them. Will make them snap, and we've seen this 100 times. This is the way it works. So Colleen also says when she talked to him on the phone, he didn't sound drunk to her. She said, quote, I would swear he was not taking drugs or drunk. But that was hours earlier. He said he, watched a fucking movie and drank and did a bunch of drugs between then and then. So now the police, they took several calls about the disturbance. The first call came officially at 5:33 a.m. This is 14 minutes after an officer had arrested a drunk driver nearby. We'll talk about that. Now, where the fuck is Richard? Because he wasn't in the house.
Yeah.
Where's old Rick here? Well, he'd not been seen since 5:33 a.m. Sunday morning. So the police put out an alert for him in the police network at 6:18 a.m. I don't know why it took that long, but
almost an hour.
6:45 minutes. So later in the day, the report was sent out on a national teletype. So they said that they contacted all the kind of local places around them, Chicago, even the Canadian border. They have warrants issued for his arrest on 2 counts of murder, 2 counts of attempted murder, home invasion. Initially, they think he killed himself.
Really?
That's the first thing. Then later on, there's a confirmed sighting of him in the Wisconsin Dells area that makes them think he didn't kill himself at all. They said, this is the first sighting we personally confirmed. I think everybody speculated he may have committed suicide. This gives us some reason to believe he may still be alive. This is from a hotel clerk who told police that he recognized him from news reports and said that, he checked in on Sunday at 1:30 p.m. and left Monday morning. And, he said he stole some towels and a glass and soap from the hotel as well.
I feel you, bud.
They're looking for Rick and his 1981 blue Dodge pickup truck. That's how it's going. So, they said what they pieced together is after he did this, he ran home on foot. Okay. That's how he got home. He ran home on foot, and he told his mom, his mom was sleeping, and he busted into the house
covered in blood,
all a titter. Yeah. And he said, quote, I have to leave. I just killed Colleen.
Yeah, okay.
And he grabbed some shit and left. He told his mother that was right before he left. So later, from his house, he ends up, instead of going the complete opposite way, he decides to drive by the murder scene.
Oh, what?
He's going to drive by the house. Now, it's covered in cop cars, fucking ambulances, everything else, including 2 squad cars that are right near him. So, he also grabbed his college savings at his house, $800 in cash and $600 in savings bonds that he's got to go. He's out.
What a terrible plan.
This will last me forever.
$1,400. I'll retire.
I'm good. I can run forever on this. So the mother tried to stop him, but she said he couldn't be stopped. So he's out. He goes by the house, drives by the house, and he's in there. By the way, the truck is his mom's, too. He took her goddamn truck. That's pretty ridiculous. So now they can't find him around there. They don't even go to his house, the police, at first. They call his house.
Hey, is Rick there by chance? No? All right, we got to go.
They call and ask Mom, is Ricky home? Like they're pals. And
play.
That's crazy. So there's a lot of talk about, well, why did they let this so much time get by and him get away? So the police spokesman said that there was 2 or 3 squad cars that hit the murder scene within 2 or 3 minutes. Only the dispatcher was there, left back at the station. Full fucking bore effort, right? But there's a guy named Richard Garza who was arrested at 5:19 a.m., and he says that 2 Woodstock officers spent at least 30 minutes taking his fingerprints and mugshots at City Hall, and he was transported to the county jail at 9:30 a.m. by another officer. And so the sheriff said that the municipal police and sheriff's deputies could have set up an effective roadblock in the entire county in 20 to 30 minutes had the chief of police asked for help. They were like, if he asked us, we could have had the fucking thing shut down like that. Instead,
this whole thing, right?
They sent 2 guys over here. They had somebody processing a DUI, and they were like, nah.
This guy's up at the Wisconsin Dells.
We'll find him, yeah. Meanwhile, the chief said, quote, it is physically impossible to block all the roads in the county. You can block most of them, probably. So at 6:18 a.m., the Illinois State Police broadcast just a sketchy outline of the murder here. And so at this point, too, there's a shift change with police, which is a problem as well. And there's that. And they said later on, this is about Rick, he had to run over a mile home. I don't care if the guy's a world-class sprinter. That alone would take him 10 to 15 minutes. So he's saying he's giving you time and you're not taking it. You guys should have been at his house before he was, is what they were saying. You guys should have drove there.
You should be able to drive there before he can run there.
And so here he comes down the street. Hi, Rick. Here he is, covered in blood.
There's a bloody man running.
So when he drove by the crime scene, they said as he was driving out of the town, he had a police car in front of him and another one behind him. He is boxed in by police cars, and they didn't pull him over. They turned off eventually, and he just kept driving. So, yeah, later on, they'll say that he thought they were going to arrest him, but they just turned off, so he kept going. He thought he was fucking cooked at that point. I mean, he's like, oh, cop car in front, cop car behind. They know it's me.
Face.
Neighbors saw me. I'm covered in blood. This is bad shit. He just kept going. He went to Lake Geneva, Wisconsin to buy Band-Aids for his wounds because you do that much stabbing, you're going to have some cuts on you.
Yourself, yeah.
And, he spent the night, like we said, in Wisconsin, and then he headed west from there. Okay?
Yeah.
So
Big Blue Open.
Well, yeah, before that, he went into Wisconsin. He exited the I-90-94 in Mouston, 20 miles from the Wisconsin Dells, stopped at the Alaskan Motor Lodge. Have we talked about the Alaskan Motor Lodge before in this area? I feel like we have. He signed the register as Ronnie Quinlan, which is the name of a friend of him in school named Mark Quinlan, and he gave a neighbor's address on a neighboring street, one of his friends. So they gave him room number 156, $27.50 for a single bedroom with a bowling alley view.
Gross.
A view of the bowling alley next door.
That's where murderers stay.
And that's exactly where they stay. So he ended up he had been shopping on Friday and bought some new clothes. So he had taken some money out. So that's how they knew he had cash. So and then he left sometime before 10:30 a.m. Monday morning with a motel blanket, towels, and a glass and soap.
He took the blanket too?
Took the blanket too.
Jesus
he might need that
Christ.
for later. So now around 7:30 or 8 a.m., this was probably right before he left the hotel or the motel room. I'm not going to say hotel.
Yeah.
The Northern Illinois Medical Center, where Colleen is, got a call from what they describe as a frantic-sounding young man who said he's an out-of-town member of the Ritter family who's unable to locate any of the in-town family members and wants to know if maybe any of them are in the hospital.
Yeah.
So they said, oh, yeah, actually, we have this young lady. So he asked about her condition, and they said, by the way, there were highway noises in the background. So this might have been, he might have left earlier than they thought he did from the motel. So the motel clerk, when asked by police, recognized Rick's photo from, they had a photo of him. And then he said, after that, I saw him on a television broadcast. So that was the guy. And then he also reported the towel theft to police, and they filled out a report. So he's got murders and stabbings.
I know you get him for murder, but listen.
Can you do like a really petty larceny as well for fucking $1.80 worth of towel?
For these towels with all the softness of a Triscuit. Please.
Yeah, this thin fucking 10 grade sandpaper white towel.
For this towel that's only good for exfoliating.
Mm-hmm. It's my exfoliator. So over the next few days, the police take the pictures of Rick to everywhere around there, all the bars and restaurants, campgrounds, and anything you could find. No one else could identify the photo, so he wasn't hanging around that area apparently. So they sent a teletype out saying that he might be going to his father's cabin in St. Germain, Wisconsin, and it's a small little town up there. It's about 350 miles from Chicago. So they all went there and waited. Hands on hips, never showed up.
Just standing around.
He'll be here, I know it. He didn't go. So
that's the worst when you're waiting on somebody. Every car that comes up, you're looking real close.
Shit.
Is that him?
No, it's not. It's the phone? No, it's not the phone. Yeah. Shit.
Uber makes me feel like I'm 17 again, waiting for friends to come pick me up. Is that it?
Is that
check the license plate?
This is my weed. So he never comes, though, so they have to come back. The FBI at this point says, we're getting involved in this. You people are fucking morons, so we're going to do this here.
You're blowing it.
At that point, August 30th is the next time we pick up his trail, Rick. He's cashing $700 in savings bonds in Los Angeles.
That $20 a time?
No, he cashed them at once in a bank in Los Angeles.
$20 bonds from Grandma every Christmas.
Yeah, probably. This is all my Christmas bonds. I had a bunch of those when I was a kid. I had a godfather who used to give them to me all the time. And when I was like 22, I got a fucking stack of these. I was like, awesome.
Cashed
free
them
money.
all in for $12 more than they were worth.
Yeah, I think, they were worth like almost twice as much by then because I had them since I was fucking 7 or something. So yeah, they were worth a lot. Not a lot. They were $78 or something, but whatever. So he's in Los Angeles now by August 30th.
All the way across the country.
Yeah. The police said a measure of luck might be necessary to find him because he hasn't contacted family or friends or anything. One police officer said if he's willing to totally divorce himself from this area, it's going to be much harder. We're still out on any lead that's logical. They said he was last seen and heard of in California, but the search is nationwide. We have no reason to believe he's there and no reason to believe he's not there. He could have visited all 50 states by now if he wanted to.
What kind of thing is that to say?
Okay. Colleen's doing better. That's good news. She's in good condition at the hospital. Her brother was released in a few days from the hospital. And Steven, the luckiest one of all, the 14-year-old, wasn't even home. Wow. So he comes home to
Crystal Lake.
Yeah, he's up in Camp Crystal Lake. He had another murderer to dodge. So he's like, I go to Crystal Lake and I survive, but my family gets butchered at home. What the fuck, man? So people were shocked.
Jamie Lee Curtis has great breasts.
Great, they're terrific. So they're shocks the whole town, as you might imagine, and of course the college too. Also, one friend here, a classmate of Colleen's, said that Rick's parents are in the process of getting a divorce, and on top of that, Colleen's backing away from him. Something must have just snapped inside. Well, yeah. The principal from the school said Rick was, I would say, a typical high school boy. He was really was never a great problem to us. He was a good student and a good athlete. He never did anything or said anything that would give us any indication that something like this would happen. Don't blame us. He didn't give us the signs. He was fine when he was here. Maybe it was NIU. Blame them. A classmate of his said that this is the guy who lost his starting job to church at center. He said he's a complete piece of shit and a pussy, and I'm much tougher than I didn't say that.
Fuck that guy.
I'm so much of a better football player than him. No, he said,
I'm glad that he's gone. I got my job back.
Yeah. Score. I'm 23 now, but you know what? I'm going to go back. I think I can really dominate now. Really do well. He said, I knew Rick as a teammate, a normal kind of guy. You wouldn't expect him to be capable of that sort of thing. Well, yeah, we would hope most people aren't.
Right.
So the funeral pops up. More than 500 people there for the funeral service. Everything in the church was full, plus standing room only on the sides. I mean, it was people waiting outside for other people to come out. It was they did a double funeral for both the parents there. Colleen couldn't make it because she was still in the hospital.
Right.
Everybody else could be there, though. Both sons were there. And they said Ray and Ruth Ann were slain without warning. These innocent and good people died by an evil act. We must admit to anger because it's there, but we must go on. They left their legacy of love and commitment to family, church, and community. We must not and should not lose to anger and rage. So there you go. Rick's on the run. This search is going to go on for 3 years, by the way.
Get fucked. Are you kidding me?
3 years. They can't find one jackass who's got $1,400 and his mom's truck from fucking Wisconsin.
How the hell? It was a much easier time, James. You could just say who you are, and they're just like, all right.
That's it. Now, during this, here you go. There's your new drive
new
safe.
Identity.
He had honest eyes. I believe him.
Look on his license, right under eyes. It says honest.
Honest, real honest, and blue. Honest and blue as the day is long. They're faxing out thousands of wanted posters all over the place. They're even faxing shit overseas. Like, we don't know where the fuck he is. So they don't even know. It's crazy. They don't have a lot to work with as well. They only lifted 2 fingerprints from his escape car and the murder weapon. They have his picture and his dental and medical records. That's all they really have to go on.
I think I could have done a better job.
That's what I mean. They said this is one of the cops. We're grabbing at air and trying to make our own luck. which is not what they know who did it, and they still can't fucking find him.
We are completely unprepared for this.
Dude, he's not Whitey Bulger. You know what I mean? He didn't run a mob family and have all sorts of connections and fucking millions of dollars hidden places and people who are willing to help him and people who'll kill for him.
Can't get beyond freshman year of college, for Christ's sake.
He's a dipshit third semester freshman, which I'm a no semester freshman, so I'm not sniping at that. It would probably take me even more semesters to get past it. So trust me.
But I had the self-awareness, James, to know not to waste anybody's time.
That's the thing. I knew that this is not for me. Now, Colleen recovers in the months ahead and works at a bridal shop in Woodstock, and she's going to go to McHenry County College. And all the kids, the three Ritters, all live with Ruth Ann's parents now, which is just a few blocks away from their old house, which they sold to somebody else. And we'll talk about the new owners, too. So next few months go by. He's in California, Rick is. They found his truck, but not him at one point. He eludes capture after both a parking ticket. He's got a parking ticket, and he cashed a $600 savings bond in that first month. He even used his own license, Social Security card, and college ID to cash the fucking bonds.
Unbelievable.
So he's that wanted, but he's giving you 3 forms of ID, and they're like, cool, here you go, bye. Happy spending.
I'm a very wanted man. Can you cash this for me? Sure can.
You want to hear it's even worse? The bank even did a 3-day security check to make sure it was all clear, and his name didn't pop up.
Unbelievable.
And the FBI is involved in this, man. This is just piss poor, and everybody's. This is a shit sandwich in everybody's hand right now. All sorts of shit. So, at one point, he stopped at a 7-Eleven, Rick does, at about 8 a.m. on September 12th, and bought a copy of the Los Angeles Times. The clerk said he saw Church walk up to the pickup, and then his truck wouldn't start, so he just walked away. He left it there. The next day, the truck was still there. The clerk called a towing company, and apparently it was a $20 part in the starting mechanism that was wrong with it. They figured it out once it got towed away. It sat at the impound for 10 days. And then on September 23rd, Cherry Church, his mom, received a letter stating that her truck was impounded. So her attorney called the Woodstock police because that's their duty. So Rick's father, Eugene, and his uncle all drove. This is amazing. And Rick's father, his uncle, and a county sheriff's deputy from McHenry County all drove the truck back to Woodstock together. Picture these 3 guys sitting in the cab of a truck on the way back. Like Dumb and Dumber all the way to Woodstock.
Just
they got the
all occupied
full house.
The bench seat.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Bench seat, guy in the middle.
Yeah. Or do they put the cop in the bed of the truck and let him enjoy himself all the way back across the country?
Trying not to lean their legs too hard on each other to make it weird. So this is a 7-Eleven on Sunset Boulevard in West Hollywood, by the way, as well here. This is 4 days after he received a parking ticket in Santa Monica. So after that, Woodstock police sergeant flew out to Los Angeles, spent 6 days in California, and tried to get some help from them. They showed his photo around some places he might have been, including the Sunset Strip, the beach, and the 7-Eleven. So
all the hot spots.
All the hot spots. Now, the 7-Eleven, they might recognize him, but the Strip and the beach...
He blends.
Yeah, there's a lot of weirdos around here with
Unless
Halloween.
He's still got blood all over him.
Yeah,
I don't think you're going to recognize him.
Even then, they might think he's like one of those performers that's going to try to con you into taking a picture with them. You know what I mean? Like, maybe he's like from a horror movie that we haven't seen. I don't know. So,
have you seen this man? There are millions of people here. What are you talking about?
What is happening? So they said that they wouldn't say if he had any friends or family there as well. They don't know if he had any friends or family there. So they kept going out. Another 2 after that, 6 months later, 2 more Woodstock police officers went to California for 11 days.
investigated for about 2-3 hours.
We walked around the beach for 11 days. I'm not going to lie. We did. We were on the beach for 11 days, and nobody's seen him. It's weird. We said over the course of 11 days, we're bound to run into everybody that's been here. So, no, we put an umbrella up, and we had drinks with fruit and
That's
shit in
what
it.
they did.
It was great.
Saw some sights.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
Went down to the Chinese theater, asked some people.
Checked out the tar pits. I always heard that was pretty cool.
Not as impressive as you might imagine.
Pretty lame when you get there, but it sounded neat. The history's wild. The bill total for the investigation 6 months in is up to $40,000 for all this shit.
It's a lot of vacation.
It's a lot. It's a lot. In the year prior to the murders, city police took home less than $10,000 in overtime pay, and it rose to $34,162 after that. So that's quite a lot.
Well, there are tapings of Wheel of Fortune and shit.
Well, they're following up on 200 to 300 tips. They made 5 trips to Wisconsin, all sorts of shit here. So it's a lot. So there's a mayoral candidate that's trying to use this shit to get elected, and he doesn't get elected. But he says, quote, there's a number of unsolved murders that if they would have done the proper police work and not gone looking for glory, these things would never have worked out this way. Yeah. He said that he would have entered the truck's license plates into a national police database, and then he would have been caught if his license plate number, not just the truck serial, because they just put the truck serial number into the database, not the truck's license plate number, which seems like an oversight. Right?
Yeah.
That has to be someone going, did I do both? I did both. And then moving on, right?
The VIN number is so hard to see. I can't even see
you're not looking for I'm looking for a blue pickup with a VIN number of that. Oh, great. Well,
who the fuck would know?
Let me get a magnifying glass and stop every truck in Wisconsin. Right. Sounds great.
And those ones were like stamped into the metal in
you
the
couldn't
door
even see
panel.
They were fucking hard to see.
Open the door to see it.
Yeah, they were difficult, man. So they said that license plates were too easy to change. That's why they would use the VIN. Okay. But you put it in there just in case.
Right.
Might not have this plate, but if you see one with it, that's sure as shit the one. Like, fuck,
we use
man.
that for Amber Alerts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and especially because when it got back to Woodstock, still had the same fucking plates on it.
Damn it.
This guy should have been caught months ago here. Instead, they went out in helicopters and had fucking police dogs searching counties and all the neighborhoods and everything like that. It's By the way, neighbors said police never questioned them about what they may have saw or heard on the day of the murder.
Unbelievable.
Around his house or anything like that. Now, the police chief says, hey, now, not so fast. He says, there were people interviewed. I don't know who you're talking about here, to a reporter. One of the people is Sandy Holland, who lived in the same building as the churches, said police didn't talk to her at all. She said, I didn't hear about it until 3 days later.
Unreal.
Police didn't speak to next-door neighbors, Chris and Peggy Grassley, or the two families who lived across the street either. Gary Noonan, also not questioned, had guests the night of the murder. They slept in the living room and heard a man across the street going in and out all night long. So they all had saw Rick, and they could have put a timeline together. No one fucking talked to her. No one talked to these neighbors. So back to Rick over here. Okay. So he ends up at this point. This is wild. He's at a mission for the homeless in L.A.
Yeah, because $1,400 ain't shit.
Not going well. So he meets a cult leader named Tony Alamo. I shit you not. Not only is he a cult leader, he is also a popular fashion designer.
Wow.
No shit. And when I tell
Tony
you
Alamo?
what the fuck he made, you're going to go, oh my God, I know exactly what those are. Holy shit.
He was a homeless guy?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. He's a cult leader. Where do cult leaders find people?
At the homeless shelter.
Desperate. Yeah. There's him and a priest right next to him, and anybody who's looking for souls, fucking scrounging for souls. That's where you go. So, he ends up becoming one of Alamo's followers.
Yeah.
Here, they travel throughout the western states for a while.
Oh my God, he's everywhere.
He takes jobs at logging camps and other job sites. They also put in 10-hour days doing manual labor, all of these, followers, making designer jeans.
What?
This was a guy who made designer jeans made by brainwashed cult members.
brainwashed, homeless, and murderers.
Yeah. And, murderers or whoever they could pick up.
At least one.
Now, Alamo is also a fugitive from federal agents as well. He's not on the up and up at all. The FBI's been looking for him since 3 months after the Ritter killings. So, an 11-year-old boy had told police that Tony Alamo ordered 4 men to beat him. And then they've been looking for him. So over the next 2 years, after Rick meets Alamo, he travels with them. Okay. 2 years. Alamo, little background on him. He was an evangelist, apparently, who had a real radical conversion, one of these real hard Christian conversions where you go from, I don't know, Jesus is pretty cool, to I will fucking set you on fire if you don't believe exactly what I believe. Not just all of it, exactly what I believe. So he did that. He founded Tony Alamo Christian Ministries with his wife, Susan. Okay, establishing their headquarters in Dyer, Arkansas.
Yikes!
It's a cult. It's been known as a cult here. Tony Alamo Christian Ministries. It sounds like Frank fucking Reynolds' sweatshop in Always Sunny. You know what I mean? Like that's what it sounds like. A bunch of lawsuits, government actions, and everything like that. They went after Tony Alamo for income tax evasion. This is amazing. Theft of his late wife's body, Jimmie, I'll explain that to you. And taking underage girls across state lines for sex. What a good guy.
Tony.
Yeah. He, according to Alamo, while he was in a meeting at a Beverly Hills investment firm, this is how he came to the whole thing. Jesus came to him while he's at a meeting at a Beverly Hills investment firm.
Yeah.
Jesus came to him and told him to preach the second coming of Christ.
Preach it.
Hold on, guys. They're like, you need to use the restroom. He's like, no, I got to go teach the second coming of Christ. Never mind. Deal's off.
Yeah.
I'm leaving. So after both he and his wife Susan converted to Christianity, they established the Music Square Church and began a Hollywood street ministry, passing out religious bullshit and pamphlets and shit, and preaching especially to, quote, drug addicts, alcoholics, and prostitutes. So
the ones that need him the most.
Ones that need it the most. They were part of what they called the Jesus people move here. There's a lot of Jesus people. There's a lot of the 60s hippies. A lot of those people were people looking for something. Right. And by the 70s, that was over, and now they latch on to Christianity because they fucked their life up so much doing drugs and being a fucking moron for 8-9 years. Now they're like, oh, Jesus, I got to get it together. Then somebody
Jesus,
comes up.
I need Jesus.
And they're like, Jesus can help you. And they're like, really? And then they get into that headlong. So there's a lot of that going on here. Now, he had his teachings was like paranoia. They called also extreme anti-Catholicism. Really hated the Catholics here. And said that the Vatican is the real power broker behind the White House, the United Nations, and the media.
Oh, boy.
And the media, even though I think we've had one Catholic president ever. So that's pretty funny.
I think that's true.
Yeah, so 50 years ago, 60 years ago. So, but they could still control the White House. No, we've had a Catholic president briefly.
Yeah.
So
it was quick.
Yeah. The publications here they offered was this is funny, the Vatican Moscow Washington Alliance is one of his pamphlets detailing his conspiracy theories, and he claimed that UFOs are divine messengers from heaven and signs of the end times. Therefore,
okay, gotta go.
We have to do this. Now, he gained popularity. Want to know how he gained popularity here?
What was it?
Selling airbrushed denim jackets that his ministry produced. That was his thing, and it was one of the businesses that supported the ministry. The jackets were assembled by his people in a factory in Alma, Arkansas that was converted from a big restaurant. They had raw denim. It was washed in a drum and did all the deal, and then it was cut and sewn into shape. They did the basic stencil, a skyline or outline of a cartoon character that was applied using a silk screen, and then they had to actually airbrush everything here and by hand.
That was his thing.
He had children man the rhinestone station. Little fingers do it a little bit easier. Using their small fingers, they would drop in what are those, Swarovski, whatever the fuck they're called, stones?
Crystals, yeah.
Those stones into the tiny, Yeah, they'd use those into the time. These are designer. These are expensive jackets. These aren't Walmart jackets. These are very expensive. Yeah, we'll talk about this, who bought these things. Terrible working conditions, bleach fumes, fucking up every day. They would work 14 hours a day. He had a whole big thing. Children's fingers would bleed from handling the rhinestones because they're pointy. Until they calloused over, they would bleed. The finished product was what was called a Tony Alamo of Nashville jacket. Okay? Now, by the way, the laborers weren't paid as well for their 14-hour days. It was in service of the church is what they were doing, because this
Jesus work, James.
They said this is our path to heaven. Well, in the 80s, they were a hot fashion commodity with celebrities. These jackets, they were the hot thing for a while. Let's see, they were very expensive. Celebrities known to have worn them in photographs, that there's photographs of them wearing them. Michael Jackson, his was a customized leather version on the cover of the Bad album. That was a Tony Alamo of Nashville. Mike Tyson, Brooke Shields, Burt Reynolds, and sorry to break your heart, Jimmy, Miss Dolly Parton as well. Oh, yeah. Dolly Parton's jacket made little children's fingers bleed, everybody. That's right. So we've been looking for dirt on her. We finally found it. She didn't do her jacket research. That bitch. How dare she not look up the exact source of every piece of clothing she wore.
I wonder
without
if
the
that
internet,
jacket
by the way.
from Smokey and the Bandit was that one, the one with the fucking Firebird on the back?
Probably, yeah, because it's a Burt Reynolds. Yep. So that's it. So one of the people who was born into the cult, a guy named Benjamin Risha, he said, "We really thought we were making these jackets for God. We did it with zeal." Yeah. That's why they were so great, because people were really into making.
What do you think they paid for those, James?
They were really expensive, apparently. I'll get you more, too. Okay. Listen to this shit. He said, "We really thought we were saving the world by making money for the ministry and spreading its word." Apparently, the jackets today are a big fucking deal. The vintage jackets of this, people still don't realize where they came from. People who have been Nicki Minaj, Miley Cyrus, fucking Kurt Cobain's kid,
right? Who has the Michael Jackson one? Somebody important has the Michael Jackson one. I think maybe Usher or something.
A couple of rappers have that. They've all been photographed wearing these vintage, old school Tony Alamo of Nashville jackets. Pretty wild. So Tony Alamo Christian Ministries, this is fucking crazy here. Okay, Susan Alamo died of cancer in 1982. Tony Alamo predicted that she would be resurrected and kept her embalmed body on display at the Arkansas compound for 6 months before placing it in a mausoleum.
Ew.
That is disgusting. Now, February of 1991, he ordered his followers to get out of the compound because there was a big federal raid breaking it up. And he said, also, when you're leaving, make sure to bring Susan with you.
Oh, my God.
So.
She's still there. We're about to raid this place.
And he took him with. The mausoleum was on the property. So a judge finally ordered Alamo to return the body in 1995 after a lawsuit by Susan Alamo's estranged daughter. So finally, after a 3-year legal battle, his followers brought the body to a funeral home in Arkansas, and finally it was reinterred and finally laid to rest, this poor woman. So anyway, back to Rick. Now, 88 to 91, logging camps, making jeans, making fucking Michael Jackson's jacket,
right,
doing all this shit. Did mission work for the church as well. Made trips to Oregon, Nevada, California, Arizona, Arkansas, moving around just with impunity, doing whatever he wants. And he spent most of his days doing out the jackets. These jackets, this fucking murderer and bloody children fingers made these jackets, man. This is crazy.
Unbelievable.
Somebody now famous on fucking Instagram is going to take a picture with one of these old jackets on, and you go, a murderer might have made that, you fucking asshole. Like a terrible murderer while he was hiding from murder.
There's blood on that jacket one way or another.
Oh, yeah. Now, he did this. One day, Tony Alamo saw a wanted poster with Church's face on it.
Oh, God.
And instead of turning him in, he told Church, well, you're a member of the family now, and I'll accept you, and I'll do whatever I can to help you as well.
Yeah.
So he does that.
Well, he relocates a job making these jackets forever because where else are you going to go? Jail?
That's it. That's when he relocates him from California to Arkansas. Mm-hmm. And there he can continue to work for him. But I guess this was in like rural Arkansas all the way in the middle of nowhere. So it's like, you're not going to run into anybody out there.
Right.
Just stay out there and make jackets for me. So they said he could have potentially been there forever, except he was only there for 4 months when it was raided by the IRS.
Uh-huh.
That's when the body was taken.
Right.
Everybody fled when the IRS raided. They took Susan. Church fled into the woods during the raid and hid out and got away. This fucking guy. At another point, he went to New York City with group members. He was arrested in New York City by New York City police because his traveling companion had kidnapped his somebody from his kid from his former wife.
Uh-huh.
So he was traveling with his own child whom he had kidnapped. So everyone in the party gets arrested there, including Rich. Rick gives the name of Jim Wall, W-H-A-L, like the haircutting thing, to police. Police fingerprint him, hold him for more than 2 weeks, then release him.
Jesus, NYPD.
Come on, FBI.
FBI.
Are these bulletins not getting to people? Is
Illinois
it the police's
state
fuck
troopers.
up?
What the fuck?
Are they not getting it out? Are the FBI not getting it out, or are people not seeing it? What is happening? He has gone through every little crack in the fucking system that there is.
We're in the 90s at this point.
Yeah. So after his release, he goes back to Arkansas, and they move from city to city after that, still doing work for Alamo wherever they can here. Finally, Alamo gets arrested, and the group fragments, and Rick has nowhere to be now. He's got no people, so he ends up in Salt Lake City, where police are still looking at him.
Yeah.
They're looking for him. Jesus Christ. During all this, he's on 11 national television programs, by the way. This is a huge deal. 5 showings on America's Most Wanted. 5 times on America's Most Wanted, which is insane.
John Walsh couldn't get him.
No, nobody could. They said it was basically the police said in Woodstock, it was basically most of our work for 2 years. Well, it should be. You didn't finish your work.
Yeah.
If you don't finish your work, you can't have dessert work. You have to fucking finish your dinner work before you get dessert
eat the
work.
Pork chop for breakfast, and then lunch.
Yeah,
and
find
then
this motherfucker. It's not like we don't know who did it.
Right.
Yeah, it's not a mystery. Right. Find him.
You'll eat until there's no more meat on that bone.
One of the detectives said someone called in trying to say that it was their son-in-law who was Richard Church, and we would say, how long has he been your son-in-law? And they said 8 years, and we were like, well, that's not it. We've put in a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into this case, the detective said. We've literally put in thousands of hours. They contacted the U.S. Coast Guard after receiving word that he was on a fishing boat in Alaska. And just in case, they alerted the Armed Services, National Park Unions, and the Dental Association. Said, we had a lot of eyes. But what you didn't do was put his goddamn license plate number on a simple thing. The most simple fucking thing you could have done, that would have done it. Fuck the Coast Guard.
Right.
What is he going to be? Oh, yeah, he might be floating fucking half a mile out at sea. Let's make sure of that before we run license plates on blue trucks from Illinois. What the fuck are we doing?
Are you guys worried that he's on the Lake of the Ozarks? What are we doing?
Yeah, what is the fucking point here? So it's at this point, by the way, the Ritters start to fight each other a little bit. The Ritter children file a lawsuit against their grandfather, who is Ray's dad, Harry Ritter, to stop him from getting Ray Ritter's insurance benefits. This is there's a $360,000 life insurance claim that Colleen says that should go to her and her brothers. However, her grandfather has taken the money and put it in a revocable trust. So Colleen said, he must not know what my father wanted. We've been through enough. Everyone knows we deserve that money. You only make something revocable if you have an intention to use that power. So she said that she's not sure why her grandfather would want that money. She said that he hasn't visited her since her release from the hospital. It's not like they're close, and they want it, so it'll be for them, obviously, here. Yeah. So they said that it's such a weird fucking thing, too, because a lot of the shit is like about who died first. It's a technical thing. It's really weird. Colleen said she didn't know what her brothers might do with their money, but she wants to. She said, myself, I like cutting hair. I wanted to go to beauty school and maybe start my own business. Yeah. Terrific. Good fucking business here. So the coroner said that Ruth Ann died at 6 a.m., Ray died at 6:01, but they said the times were arbitrarily set by the time the medical examiner got to them, so it's not like when they actually died.
So the grandfather's trying to say everything that she owns goes to her husband, and then he died directly after, therefore everything's mine. Exactly, and that's exactly what it is. So Harry Ritter, the grandfather, said he was just trying to keep a promise to his son, saying that to his son he intended for him to handle the money for the life insurance policy. So I guess... yeah, it's very weird. So anyway, it all ends pretty easily because in July of 1992 or no, it's 1989. Harry Ritter dies. So Grandpa dies and kind of ends the whole thing there. Great.
So not only 5 times on America's Most Wanted, twice on Unsolved Mysteries.
Unbelievable.
Robert Stack got involved,
and John Walsh talked about him.
Both. Oh, not only them. How about Geraldo got involved in the whole thing?
Is that right?
Yeah, they said, come on and hit Geraldo with a chair. Just come on over here. He loves it. It's great. It makes everyone feel good. We all love watching it. He loves doing it. Also, Donahue. So Phil Donahue's show, A Current Affair. Remember that one with the triangle? Yeah, we both did this. Pops out at you, and then finally, awesome. And then it's a great. It's second to the on Law and Order.
Yeah, and the tick of 60 seconds or 60 minutes.
Yeah, those are all very good sound effects. And finally, also Oprah gets involved.
Get out of here!
Oh yeah, everybody's on Oprah and talking. Colleen Ritter's on Oprah. With her big old hair back in the day and everything.
Before we found out she pushes wackos down our throat every year.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah, that's a good point.
Phony doctors.
Yeah, to stop it with your fake doctors. So Colleen appeared on the shows. She'd share her story and, all that sort of shit here. So Richard... They said that they were still looking. The cop, one county attorney, said, we'd call each other at 2 a.m. I'd say, are you still awake about that thing? I got an idea. None of us could sleep at night. Just terrible. At one point, they said they got so many tips, but they turned into no leads. The one guy said, quote, it's amazing. It's just amazing how many people look like Richard Church. A very common-looking man here.
Is that true?
Apparently so. They said it was a daily topic. We'd sit around at lunch and brainstorm for hours about the whole thing. At one point, the one cop watched 500 people in a food line in California. He walked the beach and looked at people sleeping on park benches and in trees. Quote, it was a quest.
There was trees?
In tree. That could be him in that tree. We're going to have to stay in California a couple extra days, Sarge. There's a guy who, it might be a tree. We'll talk about it.
You're not going to believe how many people sleep in trees here.
It's why they all look like him, too. It's crazy to go through all these people. We're going to have to stay out here a while. I'm going to rent an apartment. Tell you what. You got a nice place in Pacific Palisades, something like that. No, a little quieter. I don't want to deal with all that shit. Just somewhere, it's got to be nice, Jimmy. We got to fit in, Going to fucking Glendale over here. We're going to somewhere decent. So it was a quest to get it done. Not a day goes by that we forget about the church, that we forget about Mr. Church. There's no place I wouldn't go and nothing I wouldn't do. This man should not be walking around free.
Mostly Manhattan Beach.
Mostly. I'll walk around. There's no beach I won't comb. No 5-star restaurant I won't thoroughly examine the tasting menu of.
No street taco truck I will not investigate.
No Ritz-Carlton I won't stay in to make this happen. I will work tirelessly till my fingers bleed like a Tony Alamo jacket child's fingers. It's going to happen.
There's no Burt Reynolds party I won't patronize.
I won't. Oh, man. So stories had a bunch of things. One story had Church working as a bank teller on the West Coast. Another said he was walking in the park in the square with purple hair.
They had to look for people with purple hair. The one guy said, this is a classmate of his, it's more of a joke than reality. A year ago this time, we were very, very, very concerned. Now we're like, now there's purple-haired fucking guys walking around.
Now it's just crazy stories.
Yeah. They're talking about, a lot of the friends are, why would he such a clean-cut guy, and he was ambitious? I don't understand why he would do this. This is fucking crazy. And the chief says, unless you talk to the individual himself, if he would tell you anything, you'd have no idea what makes somebody do this. I wonder why. In this case, I'm like you are. We can all speculate, but I don't think any of us knows the real motive at this point. Only he does. We can guess.
I don't know. It sounds like his whole world imploded and he took it out on a fucking family.
That's what it sounds like. So now, enter this asshole. Now, Sherman Oaks, California, there's a restaurant. There's a man eating there, and Oprah had recently been on Adam and America's Most Wanted, and a wanted flyer that there's a wanted flyer that they had shown in this restaurant. So somebody recognizes Richard Church in this restaurant in Sherman Oaks and calls the police from Stanley's. It's a restaurant on Ventura Boulevard. Now, the man, Richard Church, walks out of the restaurant with his friend and is immediately surrounded by police. 10 officers, guns drawn.
Hell yeah.
Moving in, tackling him, taking him to the ground, drag his ass in. We finally got you. And he's going, I don't know what you're talking about. Who's Richard Church? He's doing that shit, you know? Yeah. I don't know what. Oh, God. What? Me? Who, me?
Yeah.
They get him in there. They're like, yeah, we'll find out exactly who you are, Richard Church. Fingerprint him.
Yeah.
They do it 4 times just to be safe. It's not him.
It's just some dick.
It's the wrong guy. It's some poor bastard named Danny Kaufman who's a fucking actor in L.A.
Wow.
It's bad enough he's a fucking getting shit canned from auditions for Calcan commercials. Now he can't even fucking... Come on. This is terrible. Now he's getting arrested.
I bought this jacket.
I swear to God. He said, quote, I wasn't quite the kind of attention I was seeking. Yeah, he's an actor. He's like, I've been trying to get noticed, but not like this. He said, as soon as I stepped out of the door, my arms were grabbed and pulled behind me. I was handcuffed in about 1.5 seconds. I didn't know what was happening. I was scared. No shit.
They are doing this police work so wrong.
So poorly. Fugitive Squad Detective Douglas Lamel said the officers and the employees of the restaurant thought he was Richard Church, obviously. Police officers explained the large-scale response by the phone tip by saying he's considered extremely dangerous. Yeah. And, it's tough shit. Then they said, quote, he didn't come close to matching the prints, though. But on looks, it was pretty close. Well, great. That's not really... So the spokesman for America's Most Wanted said that's why we kept him until we checked. Oh, that's what the police said. That's why we checked him until we checked the fingerprints. We kept him. A spokesman for America's Most Wanted said they've never, ever in the past, ever once heard of a mistaken identity case being attributed to the show.
Is that right?
Bullshit.
Is that
Your
right?
ass. Your fucking ass.
That many years?
For every one they catch, they tackle 10 guys who aren't the guy. You fucking know it. How many people are like, it's my brother. There he is. This is his address. Jesus Christ.
At least in the beginning they had to, right?
Absolutely. So as soon as they identified him as Danny Kaufman, they took him back to his Stanley's to pick up his car.
Yeah.
One of the employees said he came back and he had bruises around his wrist from the cuffs.
Poor bastard.
Poor guy. Kaufman said, this is Kaufman's lunch companion and friend, quote, I feel really bad about it. It was a nightmare. Kaufman says, though, he does see a little humor in the mix-up, obviously. He said, I'm still perplexed about it. I don't know if I should worry about being a continued suspect or if I have this on my record now that I was held as a murderer. Mm-hmm. That's a good question you don't know about. And he said, I'm taking it seriously for now. Maybe I'll laugh about it later. That is... incredible, honestly, this poor bastard. And I looked up, and there's no way to know if it's the same guy, but there's a guy named Danny Kaufman, has an IMDb. He graduated from UCLA, so he was in LA at some point, and has made it as like a director, as a producer, as a writer. He had a book of photographs published in 1994, and that would be like 2 years after this.
Then,
It could be the same guy. I'm pretty sure. I mean, it might be, but Danny Kaufman, that's a common name too. Yeah. Who the fuck knows? We don't know. If you're a listener, Danny Kaufman, either Danny Kaufman or if you're the same person, please fucking tell us if you're the same person, because I'm going to wonder about that more than what the hell dude wrote on the fridge.
How rough were they?
Exactly. Someone called in, like we said, trying to turn their son-in-law in and all that sort of shit. So finally, he's in Salt Lake City, Richard Church. He is dating a 17-year-old girl.
What?
She's one of at least 4 women he's been dating in the last 5 months. Wow. All minors as well, too, by the way. And I mean young, not in the ground looking for ore. So he worked his way up from a cook to an assistant manager at a place here. The manager's name was John Diamond. He was his boss and a friend of his who became a father figure. He received 3 raises in that time.
Wow.
And had a second job at the Delta Center where the Jazz play.
Get out of here.
I swear to God. He stayed in a shitty little motel and ended up being able to move out of there and rented an apartment in what they called a trendy downtown district. He's in a party. Him and his 17-year-old girlfriend. In his application for his job at the restaurant, he said he was a born-again Christian who spent his free time, quote, reading the Bible.
Oh, my word.
The
Power Forward did the same thing, didn't he?
They did the same. Maybe it's Karl Malone. Church also had a relationship with a 16-year-old girl for a few months. She said he was an extremely nice person but had a bad temper and would seldom talk about his past. She said, back when I went out with him, he was nice, sensitive, and really sweet. She said that she met him, who she knew as Danny Carson, while he was working at the Broiler, which was a restaurant. After they began dating, she'd ask him how old he was, and all he would reply is, quote, over 21.
Too old for you.
She's not trying to sell you a beer, dude. Right. She's wondering if your dick is too old. Somehow she ended up convincing a manager at the restaurant to check his employment file, which said he was 33.
Jesus.
So she thought he was 33. Then when he's arrested, she found out he's actually 22.
Okay.
They said that he had 33 on all of his state ID cards. So, that's what he was doing. The Salt Lake girl broke up with him about a month before his arrest because she said they were too opposite. She said, when I told him it was over, he almost cried.
Yeah.
She said,
Mormon, he's a murderer. We're too different.
You know how the Mormons murderers, the letters are very close. So she said he also got pissed off. She said, I can say he has a really bad temper, and he would yell at her when they got in arguments. So she did emphasize he never physically hurt her or threatened her, though. After a fight, he would walk away to cool off and then return to apologize. And then he'd say that he didn't mean to hurt her in any way. So whatever. Maybe he didn't try to kill me with a fucking nail on a stick. That's growth.
Right.
So while he's working here, a Salt Lake City police officer named Craig Park spots him working as a cashier.
Okay.
So while Park is eating lunch at the Bennett Pit Barbecue, he spotted the nice kid behind the counter. He's like, where the fuck did I see his picture again? God, I know I recognize him. And then he went, oh, a wanted poster. That's right. That's where I've seen him before.
Oh God.
So he asked his boss about him and checked the forged Social Security number and learned that he was going by Danny Lee Carson. So, he sat there. He said, after they caught him, he said, I thought he would plead guilty eventually. He said, he's never any trouble with us. But anyway, he said, when I saw him, I realized he looked like somebody we've been looking for before. And he said that he returned to the police station and rummaged through a pile of flyers just to make sure.
Right.
And he said that he found the one with Church. When he found it, he started to dig deeper. He contacted the Woodstock department, and on the 20th, he went back to the restaurant. So he goes back to the restaurant and talks to the boss and learns all this shit. And but he's not working that day.
Mm-hmm.
The card said that the Social Security numbers on the card and his working papers didn't match. The ID said he was born in New Mexico in 1958 and said he's 33. He said, when I saw him and saw the ID card, it was quite obvious he wasn't 33 years old. So, the managers would prod him about obtaining an I-9 employment permit and get a Utah driver's license, but he kept putting it off and giving excuses. And the manager said that, he liked him, so he just kept him around. He was a good worker. So finally, he did get the license under Danny Lee Carson, and he said that America's Most Wanted later on would ask him about when they called to ask him once he was caught, what'd you know about him? He said, I don't even know Richard Church. I knew him as Danny Carson. He's a completely different person. So, he would clean up after Jazz games, by the way. That's what he would do.
Right.
So anyway, they go back to the restaurant to arrest him on his day off. So then they track him to an apartment at a downtown hotel, which is a nice place, through an address they uncovered in their background check. They said, we went to his apartment Thursday morning, and all we had to do was ask him if he was Richard Church, and he said yes. He didn't put up a fight, but then he's not saying anything else either. So he just said yes.
He was exhausted from running.
Yeah. He just expected it someday. Yeah. He said yes and put his hands out. Cuff me up. His boss said, quote, he was the nicest kid. He was great. He was a hard worker, and he didn't even swear.
Yeah.
Didn't even just murders. That's all. Yeah. This is what I mean. Don't trust people who don't curse. I've said it a million times. They might be a pedophile or a murderer.
Right.
And an all-American kid. An all-American kid. That's what he is. That's what the guy said here.
Not all people that don't swear touch kids, but all people that touch kids don't
swear. Exactly. Jared never heard a curse coming out of his mouth. So Michael Jackson would fucking ask you not to curse in front of him if you cursed.
He threw shit into a song once.
But he would, if people cursed, he would ask them not to curse around him. I'm talking big stars would be around. Could you not curse in front of me? I don't like it. Here. Yeah, I don't like a bad Michael Jackson impersonation. Neither of us are good. So
let's do it another time.
Dorothy DeShazer, who's the manager of the apartments where he lives, said, quote, I could not fathom a nice-looking man like he is doing what he did.
Wow.
He's too handsome. He was always quiet. He was the perfect tenant because he's hiding. Wow. She said that a woman who often stayed with him was also there when he was arrested. He had a girlfriend there. She was just as shocked as I was when the picture on the wanted poster was shoved in her face. He just kept to himself and quiet. I used to think he was rude at first, said another woman who lived there, but then realized he's just quiet. Now, the cop who found him, they said the police chief said he's, quote, one of our finest officers. His name is Craig Park. He's the only guy in this whole story with a badge who's not a complete fuck-up. Thank you, Craig Park of the Salt Lake City Police Department, the only non-fuck-up in this entire story.
Also, the only thing he really did was say, are you him? And he said yes.
But no, he recognized it, then went back and looked through a pile of posters and go, it is that fucking guy I saw 2 weeks ago. That's impressive police work.
It's not bad.
Commit a fucking guy, a wanted poster to your brain for 2 weeks?
Yeah.
And he could have just been like, nah, it's probably, never mind, and went on with his day.
Yeah.
He did the work.
Thank God the picture was right.
Yeah, that would have been far another Danny Kaufman.
Yeah.
Now, he said, this is Park. He says, this is just one of those things that shows that, he says, I've been there a zillion times. I can't take too much credit for not spotting him sooner. He's like, calm down. I'd fucking talked to the guy 30 times already and didn't recognize him, so my bad. But that's just being modest because he's doing well here. Now, the officials in Woodstock said you have to give this police officer a lot of credit. I don't know him, but whoever he is, I'd like to buy him a new Cadillac. That's nice. So, they bring him in, and here he is. They end up giving him an award, too. The FBI gives him an award, the cop who found him. Yeah, Park. And he said, quote, I certainly wasn't expecting the awards. They all came out of having lunch at the right place at the right time. Yeah. I was just hungry. Now, yeah, it's fucking crazy. Now, Richard, once he's in jail, Rick calls work. He calls work to apologize. He calls from the county jail, and he says, this is Danny, when he spoke to Donna Diamond, who's the guy's wife there. And she said, quote, he just wanted to talk and wanted to let us know that he loved us. We all got close to him. He was just saying he was sorry we were going to have to go through what we were going through. It made me feel like Danny loved this area and loved us as much as we loved him. I just think he needed to know we're still there now that we found out about this horrible thing. Maybe he needs to know there's someone out there who loves him. He said that he told Diamond he was sorry. Diamond Guy said that we were best friends, the best friends he ever had, and that he'd never forget us. I said, I guess I should call you Richard now. And Rick, he said, I like Rick. He said, I tried to change. I'm not that person anymore. And even though I know what he's done, I'd still trust him with my 2-year-old.
Are you out of your mind?
Wow. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, but okay. They couldn't believe it at first that it even happened. They said they knew him as a 33-year-old likable guy, a football fan, got along well with women. He said Danny Carson did not do things like that. Richard Church may have, but Danny Carson wouldn't have.
Danny Carson doesn't exist, you guys.
He doesn't exist. This is when someone gets brain with it's just in their brain. That's what happened.
I'd like to introduce you to a friend of his, Tony Alamo would like a word with you as well.
He was making $4.75 an hour. That's what he was doing there. They said at the time when he got hired, he had a full beard, looked like a country western singer, they said, but he did not object when he was told to shave it. And when he did, nobody was any suspicious. They said he looked so much younger than 33, but it was like a joke, like, yeah, baby face over here. And he'd be like, yeah, I'm a lucky guy. I'll love it when I'm 70. He'd make jokes like that. I'll be lucky later on. And that's what they'd all say. And it's fucking funny. They said he had the key to the store, the key to the safe, the combination. Had all that shit. Didn't take the money, never ran, just sat there. They said he was set. He had a new life with people who loved him. That's what the Diamond guy said. He was to come to our house for Thanksgiving. He wanted to come in on that day and paint the store, but I told him Thanksgiving was a day to be with the people you love. So we invited him over.
Come over.
This is fucking crazy.
You almost invited. You did. You invited a murderer to Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Friends of his said they'd watch football and shoot darts and play pool and all that sort of thing, and said he's just a good, fun-loving guy. He'd come over for barbecues. It wasn't the person we knew who did those things. It was someone different. A coworker said who'd, fucking hang out at the barbecue. One friend said he found a home here. This is fucking crazy. This is fucking nuts.
He literally tried to murder 4 people, you guys. What are you talking about?
One time he became nervous when police came to the restaurant and once told a friend the cops were after him. And he said, we thought it was for something minor, like stealing a radio, not butchering a family. So, wow. This is fucking crazy. So his friends said they'd see the America's Most Wanted episodes on him, but they never made the connection.
Wow.
They said, we've watched it with him. Diamond here. Diamond said that 2 of her sons were joking with each other after the episode, saying, that looks like Danny. It looks like Danny. And I asked them why they didn't tell us, and they said, we didn't think it was him. We were just like, that's pretty funny. It kind of looks like Danny. But he's not a murderer. He works at the barbecue pit or whatever the fuck.
You guys should be police officers in Illinois.
No shit. One time, the place he worked at was robbed. Mm-hmm. So police showed up. And he said, I can't be here with these cops, and fucking ran away. Took off. Wow. That is wild.
And nobody was any wiser. They're like, yeah, I get it. Go home.
Yeah, we get it. Yeah. We don't like him either, I guess. Whatever. I don't know. He's weird about cops. So it brought a lot of relief to the Ritters here. The one, Colleen's uncle said, I knew he'd be caught. I just knew it. You don't know how hard my heart was beating. I'm happy. I'm angry. Everything's rolling inside me. Colleen said, I was shocked. I'm still shocked. I was thinking my life's going to go on now. Now she said she doesn't have to live in fear anymore.
Good for her.
A close friend of the family who told Colleen said, quote, no more locked doors is what Colleen yelled. She was so fucking happy, which you should still lock your door.
Yeah,
but
it's just the only dangerous person isn't.
Yeah, I was going to say,
calm down.
There are other murderers out there. You just caught this one, which is good. Less murderers is always good. So they said, now, Colleen said, quote, now the ultimate would be death for him. She's into that. And Ralph Ray's younger brother said, I want to see him put to death. If they can't find somebody to do it, I'll volunteer to do it.
Attaboy.
See, that's the ones where we should, okay, well, I mean, if you want to do it, fine, but we're not going to do it for you. Listen here, the state's only going to do so much. Colleen went to she was trying to help the police. She was on TV 12 times on national television shows, begging for fucking help.
This is why we should talk about the death penalty in a much more serious. We could barely catch him, and now we're. You know what I mean? Now we're talking about we're going to kill him. You could barely catch him.
Yeah, you couldn't even fucking find the guy. You didn't even know to put license plates in federal fucking checks. Like,
we're
going to
trust these
here?
people to enforce an ultimate penalty.
Christ almighty. Now, one of the residents said, I think it was good he was caught. Well, there's the most obvious thing I've ever fucking heard in my life. I'm glad to hear it. He needs to be brought to justice. Anything with any opinion here, I hope they would catch him because you always want justice to be done. He needs to face up to what he did.
They caught him? That seems good.
That's like a basketball player. Go, well, how do you feel about the game? And he goes, well, we just tried to play as a team and take it one day at a time. And, everybody worked together for one common goal and we can get to the championship. That's what he just said. And
we won, so that seems good.
Happier. Yeah, we won, so I think that's pretty cool. Then he said, the whole thing is unfortunate. I feel sorry for both families. Any more, Mr. Obvious?
Anything else?
When they said, do you have anything to say? He should have said, no, and walked away. I don't. No, Eugene Church, goes by Gene, Rick's father. He said, quote, we're really sorry about the tragedy. We feel sorry for the other family. And he said, we've known the Ritters all our lives. We're just devastated by it. I don't know of any other word I could use. So he said that they said they never heard from him when he was on the run. They did visit him in jail after he was arrested, but they wanted to talk to him. So they said they didn't know anything about his son's whereabouts. And his mother here said, quote, it's been the worst 3 years of my life. I didn't know where he was. I wasn't even sure if he was alive. And she said, are you relieved to know now of his whereabouts? And she said, yes and no. I'm relieved, but he's also going to, he's in prison. So that's how that works. Now, they said that the father, when they asked, well, what kind of kid was he? He said he did everything any normal child would do. He never gave us 1 ounce of trouble that we're aware of. Other than that, he was a good boy. Other than the multiple murders, he's a good boy.
Right.
We don't know what happened any more than you do. We'd like to know, but we don't. We're not psychologists. I think he was tired of running, and it couldn't have been easy to live life out there at this point. So they said, Eugene then said, I think there's 2 sides to every story, and at least that's what I've been told. Hopefully we'll hear another side. Unless the side is completely, it was really Danny Lee Carson that murdered these people, and we've had a major thing here.
Hilarious. He changed his name to Danny Carson, and the guy that they caught was Danny Kaufman.
Danny Kaufman, yeah.
So close.
K-A-U. Yeah, different spellings there, but still, a K and a Danny is pretty goddamn close.
Unbelievable.
So, they said that, they're hoping this comes out well. His lawyer says that the best I could hope for would be an acquittal. That's what he's looking for. So, July 24th, 1992, it comes to court. There's a lot of evidence. Sure. People saw him doing it. Colleen lived.
Right.
There's no way out of it. So he cops a plea here. Mm-hmm. Richard does. What the plea does is take the death penalty off the table, and that's it. That's the only thing the plea does, is we won't go for the death penalty. So, they said that his mother said, or I'm sorry, Ruth Ann's relative said that this saved him from the death penalty. His attorney said, while some people might say it's living death, I don't think so. You can save a life where you can. I understand how families of the victims feel. Putting Rick to death isn't going to bring anyone back. The state's attorney, who originally sought the death penalty, withdrew their request in agreement with this thing here. He achieved his goal, he said, of keeping Church off the streets. The defense counsel said, I wanted to try the case, but I was convinced, and he was, that we could not avoid conviction. Mm-hmm. What did you want to try? What were you trying on? You fucking kidding me? So the sentencing comes around. During that, they're trying to plea for, I guess, life with parole is what they're going for. Mm-hmm. His lawyer, Rick's lawyer, says he doesn't even recall the early parts of this except for flashes. He doesn't even remember this. What, are you kidding me?
The murders?
The murders. He said he knows nothing. He says, quote, I think he's truly sorry for the grief he's caused. He's so stoic. That comes from fear more than lack of remorse.
Wow.
He said, this is ridiculous. He said, he said that it's drugs and alcohol and the stress and all that sent him over the edge. He just snapped, doesn't remember. He said everything was coming down on him. He had some whiskey, some beer, and marijuana, a few pills. He was blotto, out of it. No idea what he was doing. Nothing. That's it.
How many times have you been shit-faced, James, and then just been like, I got to go murder?
I got to put a nail through a stick and go stab my ex-girlfriend's parents with it, and her little brother and her. Never happened.
That means I've got to get off the couch. Fuck that.
That's ridiculous. The judge says, well, you, sir, may fuck off, life in prison with no possibility of parole.
Right. Good.
0. He will leave prison, quote, only upon his death.
Good.
They said.
Yeah.
They also sentenced him to 3 concurrent 30-year prison terms on 2 counts of first-degree attempted murder and home invasion, just in case there's some technicality on the life without. So the reaction here is, the state's attorney said, all I gave up is a request for the death penalty. I had no assurance I would get it. While one or more family members understandably remain adamant in their conviction that we should pursue the ultimate punishment, the majority of the victims, including Colleen and Matthew Ritter, have agreed. Colleen attended the sentencing hearing. They said she sobbed as they described the attack on her and took off pretty shortly afterwards. At one time, she was saying she wouldn't rest until Rick Church was dead. She was the one pushing the media and the police to find him. She said, quote, I just want Rick to die. I want one thing, and that's Rick to die. Is that a lot to ask for? Which sounds silly, but only in her context, completely understandable. She's the only person who could say that.
I sit down on Santa's lap, and he says, what do you want for Christmas? And I say, can you kill Rick?
He goes, Rick Church? Dead.
Probably on your naughty list, that one.
That guy, just off with his head, run him over.
Put it under my tree.
After you get done with Grandma, get him next. Hit him next, if you could. Please. So, she said she agreed, though, that he could live, quote, a death behind bars, only if he confessed, though, and that's what he did. He had to confess. He had to cop to the whole thing. So not quite harsh enough for everybody, though. Mel Ritter, who is Ray's older brother, said, I'm not completely satisfied. I feel bad for the Church family, but they still have the option of seeing their family member. I don't have that option. So, and another neighbor said that, quote, I'm just glad it's over now. Just glad it's over. They also said, one of the neighbors said that he wished Church had gone to trial and received the death penalty. Listen to this, okay? He wishes he received the death penalty because, quote, it would let it sink in what he did and make him think about it.
No, he
not
wouldn't.
For as long, I guarantee you that much.
Have to think about that for
that's not the reason why.
No.
Life in prison is plenty of time to think.
I want to teach him a lesson.
Revenge. You can say that, and I'll go. I understand that emotion. That's just a weird thing to say. So, it's fucking crazy. They're trying to say that he's a decent person. He only had one thing where he really kind of went off the deep end there, and but it's a big thing here. They said that he said people in the neighborhood don't feel bad. They miss the Ritters. And, people were talking about how when they were sick, the Ritters would come by and bring them soup and all sorts of shit like that. Yeah. They were nice people, these Ritters. They were good goddamn people. This is bad shit. So the house gets sold in 1992.
Oh, really?
It is sold, 209 Greenwood Avenue. It is sold to Sean and Kelly Parker. They moved in there. They knew what happened to it. They've done some minor remodeling, new kitchen, some painting, I would assume. Mm-hmm. It says some painting, redecorating. And they said they also had to come to grips with the whole thing here. They said that, the Ritters were such nice people. More than anything else, we felt sad, which is what you want when you move into a new house. You want to feel sad about it. Jesus. Sean said, it's a beautiful house. One day, one night doesn't ruin the house.
No?
I think so. There were some beautiful times here.
Everybody at Cielo Grande or whatever the fuck that is. Cielo Drive, is that
Cielo Drive, yeah. Tell all the Brentwood people in their neighborhood. He's a city public works employee, and he said the neighbors said they were relieved to have someone back in the house. He says, Sean, as far as we're concerned, I don't think there are any clouds hanging over this house. He said he's relieved to know that Richard Church is in custody, though. But he said, who's to say that he wouldn't come back? He could have come back here and killed maybe it's the address. Maybe he wasn't mad at Colleen. It was just a coincidence that they lived at this fucking house. Who knows? It's a poltergeist situation. We have no idea. He said that we figured if he had made it from Wisconsin out to California without being caught, he obviously had it in his mind to run. So they did say they had to put up with some curiosity seekers, particularly the anniversary of it. People will show up. Quote, we've had gawkers since we moved in. People slow down, point, and we see them talking to each other in person. But there's not much we can do.
Yeah.
I guess not. In 2019, Habitat for Humanity of McHenry County began restoring the Ritter home, which was once dubbed the House of Death by everyone in town. God. Jesus. The home had changed hands multiple times, but ultimately fell into foreclosure, which is when Habitat for Humanity took an interest. It met their requirement, and volunteers rehabbed it. It's a 1,440 square foot, 3-bedroom, 2.5-bath home. And, they said the woman who got it said, to be very honest, this house was such a blessing to us that it drowned out the negative things I'd heard about it. My girls are so excited and eager to start our new life there that when I finally told them about the history, they didn't even reconsider it. I was worried it would spook them out and change their minds. So
my kids would never step foot in that place.
They'd be like, what? Kids were stabbed here?
Yeah. The house I went to at Lino Lakes, when I asked the neighbor that was out sweeping, I was like, which house was the one where that guy, and he didn't even look at the house, just nodded over his shoulder. That one.
That one. The one that people ask about, like you all the time. Thanks. Tell everyone. So one Habitat for Humanity person said, coming into our new home is kind of like what I do for my families. I can bring in the sunshine and the happiness to a situation that can be very dark and difficult, which is exactly what we do, Jimmy.
Right, exactly.
We might as well build houses for people who are in terrible shape, because we take a dark situation and
we are nice.
We try to add a little bit of light to it. And that's what we did here today. And that, everybody, was Woodstock, Illinois.
Wow.
And one fucking hell of a story. That's a fucking
jackets,
bumper right there.
Dolly Parton's wearing a murder coat.
Dude,
this is crazy.
Starting off the new year right. That's how we're doing. We're laying down. We're throwing the gauntlet down. That's what it's like now. You got it, motherfuckers? That's it. So if you like that shit, get on your goddamn podcast app that you're using, whichever one, we don't care, and give us a review. 5 stars would be terrific. That was complicated. As a matter of fact, you can even review on Spotify now, so get on there and do that and boost us on up the charts. Check us out. Head over to shutupandgivememurder.com right now. All of your merchandise for crime and sports and small town murder. All of your tickets throughout 2022. And we announced in the beginning of the show, and we'll say it again here, Nashville, Florida, meaning Tampa and Orlando, Oklahoma City, and Austin have all been rescheduled.
Yeah.
They're all in the process. They will all be done in this calendar year. So they're not going to go into 2023 with this shit. It's just going to be tacked on to the end of what we have now, which is like through September. So it's going to be sometime around there. Don't know when. Not our faults, everybody. A couple people have had some responses that are less than savory. They're saying that people are upset. They think that like we're holding their money, and we're not. We have no. First of all, we were advised this by the people that set these things up, by our agents. They said, listen, clubs are closing on day of show because they don't have enough staff because everybody will get sick all at once.
Can't do that.
We don't really want you to fly somewhere, get there, have your whole audience show up and have them go, oh, no show tonight. The staff's all sick. So rather than do that, let's see if we delay it 60 days and see if it'll help. So our first shows coming back are going to be in hopefully Chicago, Minneapolis that weekend. So it sucks for us too. Like we explained in the beginning, this isn't a bake sale where we have like a metal lockbox with everybody's ticket money. We don't get paid a fucking dime till we do the shows either. So it's not like this is like, and if you want a refund, if you don't want to wait, get a refund from the venue. They'll give you a refund if for delayed shows. But if you went to like StubHub or something, we can't help you. We can't fucking help you.
100 times. Don't buy tickets from those fucking people. Just get it from the venue.
No, if you bought a used car from a guy and then it broke down, you wouldn't take it to the Chevy dealership and go, you assholes gave me a car that doesn't work. You go, I don't know what the fuck the guy between us and you did to it. It's not our fault. They don't know, so they can't do it. That's with the third party.
For airport, for travel, for airfare.
Both of us, I prepaid for my fucking hotel. You think I'm getting that back? I bet I'm not.
No.
You know what I mean? So I get it. We're out money too. This is now going to cost us twice, and we're fucking break even if we're lucky for going there and all these stuff.
We're not happy about this. This is not our doing. We don't want this.
Right up our asses too. So trust us. We would love to do shows. We would love to do them and love to get, especially the ones that have been on the books forever, get them the fuck over with and have a good time. We'd love to. We will when we can. That's what we're saying. So that said, thank you for everything you do, and thank you for coming out to the shows. If
thank
you do
you for
come out,
understanding.
They're a fucking blast, and they're going to rock once we do get to do them, because we've had a great time so far. Now, speaking of rocking, patreon.com/crime and sports. That's some rocking shit right there. That's where you get all the bonus stuff, bonus shit for both shows, and you get anybody $5 or above, you get access to everything. Both shows, Patreon, the entire back catalog. If it comes out, you're going to get it.
Yep.
Period. That's it. And this week, we have some good ones for you. First of all, for crime and sports, we're going to do a week in sports crime, or a year in sports crime. I'm sorry. 1995, and we're going to go over, it's a crazy list that a newspaper compiled. We're going to go over like hundreds of sports arrests in like an hour. It's going to be amazing. Good shit. Really funny stuff. And then after that, small town murders. Oh, my goodness. One of the more requested cases there is. We're going to do the John Benet Ramsey debacle.
Terrific.
What went wrong? Not so much the murder, because you guys, everybody knows about the murder. And I mean, we'll give a brief synopsis, but it's mainly going to be what the shit happened now. What's up with the parents? Do we believe them? Do we believe him? Do we believe her? Was it the little brother theory? What's up with the ransom note? Left behind, 3 pages long, very specific, on multiple drafts.
Right.
What the fuck, man?
What's
We're going to talk about it all here. Do that, and that's all going to be patreon.com/crime and sports. And you'll get a shout out as well at the end of the show coming up very soon here, where Jimmie will try his hardest to say your name and fuck it up royally. So that said, also, if you want to follow us on social media, we are at Small Town Murder on Instagram, at Small Town Pod on Facebook, and at Murder Small on Twitter. There's that. And also, if you want to make a donation, just get your shout out and have excellent karma, you can do that over at PayPal using our email address, crimeandsports@gmail.com. That said, Jimmie, level me with the names of the people who would never, ever, ever kill us and then make designer jackets for Dolly Parton. Hit me with them now.
This week's executive producers are Melissa Turner, Jordan Bennett, Susanna Platt, Tiffany on behalf of all of the best grandmas, Garrett Anderson, Jovan Gant, Natasha Harris, Megan Bartmanovich, Bartmanovich, I think, and Brandy Lyman or Lamone. I'm not sure. Either way, thank you all so much. Truly,
you're the best.
You're invaluable. Other producers this week are Trina Cobb, Heather Callahan, Alex Ortiz, TJ Young, Dawn of the Flamingo. What is that word? Those are words. Dawn of the Flamingo. I don't know what that is.
Cool. Thank you.
Corporal Carl Kirshner, Zach's new son, Henry James Carano, Maddie Rydall, Swamp Queen Jess, happy hour in Marrero, Louisiana. He is a trucker, and he checks in from everywhere he goes. That's actually home. Baseball writer Peter Schmuck. That's a real person, James.
Awesome.
Barbara Howells, Nicole Enna Clarico, I think. Gary Howard and Truck Stop Murder Podcast. Steve Schnell. Sheila Wigton. Yeah, Gare.
Gary, you got heavy metal scientist Steve Schnell. These are our buddies coming up here.
Todd Theroff, I think. Soldier Boy's droopy girlfriend, whoever that is. Kimberly Alves. Toru.
It's 90 Day Fiance reference.
Oh, is it?
She is droopy, yeah.
Oh. Is she droopy?
She's an older lady. She's an older lady, and he's 32.
And so, is it Soulja Boy or Soldier Boy?
Soulja Boy. He's a Nigerian rapper.
Got it. Oh.
Good stuff.
Christ. Toru Tanaka, I think that's the guy from...
it's a wrestler.
Yeah.
And he was in... Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Janice Hill, Brian Whitehead, happy birthday, Brian.
Happy birthday.
Kara Buerer's birthday also. Happy birthday. Is it Kara? I think it's Kara. It might be Kara. I don't know.
Peanut butter. Happy fucking birthday.
Peanut butter jelly and baseball bat, James. Keith Cole's son got him a Small Town Murder shirt for Christmas. Happy birthday.
Oh,
no,
cool.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Enjoy.
Bethany Remillard, Frank Zecca, happy birthday, buddy. He's a New Year's baby. Kathleen June, Linda Brilla, Nicole Quintiliana, Quintilani. Fuck this. Jeff Shrewsbury, Rocky Reynolds, Brennan Potter, Sally W., Devin Schmidt, Stephanie Here, Erica Candace Williams, Lisa Taylor, Michael Evans, Nicole Connery, Trevor Kirkendall, Lacey Holyfield, Cherry or Cherie Richmond, Carolyn Anthofer, I think Eli Faust, Juan Ramiro, Miles Mattingly, Catherine Towns, Kelly Hobart, Jolie Hinnenkamp, I think, Sam Crouch, Stephanie Oliveira, Cooper Smith, Angelica with no last name, Angelica. It's probably Angelica.
It's probably not Angelica, I'm going to say. You know,
Monica
just from life
Lee.
experience in general.
Courtney Cohn, Danny DeVito's mom, also Danny DeVito's dad.
Both. That's nice.
Aaron Kozlowski, Rachel Sherwood, Michael Milzia, I think. Soam Realum? I don't know. Danielle Tihan, Jessica Austell, Matthew Fields, Chantel Friend, Nancy Swank, Kyle Powers, Braden Conover, Misty Day, Faith with no last name, Tess Gill, Tyler with no last name, Tori Gallagher, Jessica Kemp, Kiana Nicole, I think, Kiana maybe, Hannah Briggs, Andrew Boggs, Charlotte Moeller, Madeline Alexis, Terry Harkless, Nicole Bracken, Foamy Opals, Sarah with no last name, Holly or Haley, no, that's Holly. Richards.
They're spelled different.
That one.
So, yeah. Is it an A or an O?
I don't know. J. Isabel Delisle, Kenny Portillo, or Portillo, I'm not sure. Evan Campbell.
Are you Italian or Spanish, Chief? Which one?
Evan Campbell, Melinda Torito, Bill Hassinger, Beck and Sean McKenzie, Haley Hobday, Aaron Carlisle, Katie Thomas, Hannah Berkner, Megan Kaiser, Audio Media News, JB with no last name, Gary Wilson, Daniel with no last name, Happy Days, Allison Hoberg, I think I said that, William H. Bonney, oh, that's Billy the Kid, Christopher Badger, Mike Kelly, April Clausen, Ebony West, Michael Lloyd Jones, Steve Willett, Tori with no last name, Faith McLean Shermer, Troy Holly or Hale, Kimberly Araujo, Monica Wilson, Ashley Lalonde, Kimberly Hunter, Laura Coder. Jesus, I choked on it. Kyle Trapp, John Faulkner, Jonathan Markell, Allison Crooks, Michael of the Month, Aaron Rose, Beach Bum Exotics, Adam H., Evan Wallert, Justin and Katya, Rachel K., Ashley Ward, Colby Gabbert, Kayla Erdzik, Jesus, Chelsea Hansen, Ryan Higgs, Kara Norris, Bryce Schmidtke, Tara Gilchrist, Greg Bradshaw, Ellen White, Dustin Gregory, Brian Schell, Thomas Urbeck, Alicia with no last name, Josh Brackfield, Zachary Gallagher, Aria Guthier, Kevin Poole, Mark Belizia, Ruben Vacek, Scott McLeod, Aaron Tillery, Graham Davis, Rebecca Saracino. This is ridiculous. Dylan Moore, Jen Begley, Rachel Sizer.
He means his reading is ridiculous, not your names, by the way.
I wrote all this. Tyler Manfred, Ashley Whittick, Shenanican Skywalker, Matt Crater, Jessica Carbajal, Bryce Palm, Darren Matson, David Alvira, Danito Allen, Joseph Tiberi, Big Dick Daddy, Boss Man fucking Sir. Those are all words. Wow. Marcus Miller, DJ Die? Is it DJ or Die? I don't know what this is. It might be Die Prince. Alan Schultz, Kevin Mott, Stuart Glenn, Paul Warmth, Nishal Sharma, Joe. Oh boy, Joe. Nuamn. It's Nauamnn. That's not a word.
Nuamn?
Maybe. Ramen? Is that a ramen noodle? I don't know what that is.
I don't know either. Jeffrey
Fiebig, I think Fiebig, Casey Geitzelman, Raymond Wood, Alex Battaglia, Aiden Youngblood, Lisa Selvage, Frank Shelley, Ted Yaminsky, Seth Rohrer, Madison Francis White, AJ Horner, Ted Turd Thompsons, Stephanie Taylor, Tiffany Valeni, Matthew Martin, Matthew McDowell, Courtney just Rhodes, not McRhodes. Smokin' Wolf, Amy Krumenaker, Edward Key, Joan Tiemann, Precious Benjamin, William Mentio, Dame with no last name, Renee Knudsen, Homestretch, Holy Christ, Don Euler, I think, Keelan Ryan, Ben Sneed, Julia Long, Thumb in My Ass, Jen Aniano, Rachel, nope, that's Raina R, Corey Lindsay, Rachel Gribble, Bridget Cohn, Shauna Cornett, Greg Wiles, Corey Balint, Todd Bates, Jess Ramsey, Hannah with no last name, Patricia Talsma Reed, Joshua Robertson, Anne-Marie Atchley, Jennifer Fox, Justine Jeffries, Jen with no last name, Luke Kenyon, Jacob, nope, that's just Jake Goldstein, Dawn with no last name, Fiona Shore, Nicole Newer, Robin Bennett, Jolene Boucher, Ivan Natekin, Omaros Kolios, I think, Wendy Gonzalez, Leah Malik, Roxanne Matt, I had to talk myself into it. Matt Donges, Mario Sullivan, Belinda Richards, Sven Cack? I don't know what it is. Bridget O'Connor, Lindsay
Sorry.
Garrett Anderson, Jennifer Dalton, Devin Robillard, Matt Hunley, Julian Maybe, and Graham Wagner, and obviously all of our patrons. You guys are fantastic. Thank you. That was 5 pages of shit I can't say.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you. A tremendous amount. And even more because we have live shows being canceled and we're out a lot of money. So thank you.
It's awful.
For keeping us afloat always. You people are amazing, and we really, really fucking appreciate it. Jimmy, what if they appreciated you? How could they tell you about it?
Yeah, you can find me on the internet. Thank you so much for appreciating me. Where can they appreciate you, James?
You can Google search Small Town Murder, and you can find us both there. We're there. There's no other Small Town Murder podcast. Right. And if there is, tell us about it, because we are going to hunt them down like fucking animals, because this is our shit. So look that up. Follow us. Keep coming back week after week. It's going to be crazy from here on out. And next week is no different. And until next week, everybody, it's been our pleasure.
Bye.
If you like Small Town Murder, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
A few miles from the glass spires of Midtown Atlanta lies the South River Forest. In 2021 and 2022, the woods became a home to activists from all over the country, who gathered to stop the nearby construction of a massive new police training facility, nicknamed Cop City.
At approximately 9 o'clock this morning, as law enforcement was moving through various sectors of the property, an individual, without warning, shot a Georgia State Patrol trooper.
This is We Came to the Forest, a story about resistance.
The abolitionist mission isn't done until every prison is empty and shut down.
Love and fellowship.
It was probably the happiest I've ever been in my life.
And the lengths we'll go to protect the things we hold closest to our hearts. Follow We Came to the Forest on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.